Good evening and welcome to another big night of football here on Solent Sports News Midweek Live. With only a few weeks to go now until the domestic seasons in Europe cease, ahead of the first men's FIFA Football World Cup to be played in the Northern Hemisphere winter, the task to ensure Champions League qualification steps up very much tonight. So that's something very much to bear in mind. Some huge matches involving British teams this evening. Liverpool, they already know that they're through, and Rangers, they already know that they are out. But Tottenham Hotspur have it all to play for in their group. If the EFL Championship is more your thing, then there's 6 games tonight, plus 4 fixtures in League One and 2. And add to that the Papa John's Trophy and National League games as well. And you can see that there's plenty to focus on for our attentions this evening. So we'll take a look at the updated goals as they go in and react to the biggest stories of the evening as they happen. So sit back, relax, enjoy the next 2.5 hours of uninterrupted sports updates, courtesy of sports journalism students at Solent University. This is Solent Sports News Midweek Live. Okay, so plenty of games, as we say, covered all around the country and indeed parts of Europe. We've got reporters at a number of places, both live and watching on screen. Most importantly, as the goals go in, we will bring them to you. So let's go first of all to the Championship with some team news ahead of Preston against Swansea at Deepdale. It's George Rees-Julian. George.
Yes, well, Deepdale will be hosting today a clash between two sides who are hoping to be finishing in the playoff places heading into the Winter World Cup break. I'll quickly run you through the team news as the kickoff is set to get underway in just a little under 15 minutes, starting with the hosts who've made 2 changes from their 2-1 win against Middlesbrough on the weekend. Andrew Hughes and Ched Evans, 2 Welshmen, come into the side for Alvaro Fernandez and Ben Woodburn. Swansea City, who have lost just 1 in their last 8 games, make 4 changes. The most notable of those, Joel Piroux returns to the starting lineup after serving his 3-game suspension following his red card in Swansea's 4-0 loss against Burnley. Also coming into the team is Olivier Ncham, Ryan Manning and Kyle Norton, dropping out Ollie Cooper, Matty Sorniola and Nathan Wood.
Thank you very much to George, who'll be keeping his eye on Preston against Swansea. Okay, Coventry against Blackburn. Blackburn have started the season very, very well so far. What's going to happen there at the Coventry Building Society Arena tonight? Kit McIntosh is there for us.
Well, Will, I'm here at Coventry against Blackburn, where just a couple of days ago, it was not known whether this stadium would be fit for use as the ground owners have gone into administration. But regardless, the players are out on the pitch, the fans are ready. And just a few changes for these teams today for Coventry. Gyökeres, Victor Gyökeres, Michael Rose and Josh Eccles return to the lineup, with Casey Palmer, Todd Kane and Kyle McFadzean dropping out. As for the away side, Daniel Ayala, Jack Vale and Callum Britton return to the side, while Sam Gallagher, Tyrese Dolan and Harry Pickering drop out.
Thank you very much to Kit, who's keeping an eye on Coventry against Blackburn tonight. Okay, Luton Town against Reading is taking place at Kenilworth Road. Watching for us is Cameron Anderson-Jones.
It is wet and windy here at Kenilworth Road for Luton versus Reading, where it will just kick off in under 10 minutes now. The match these two sides, who can hardly be separated in the league table this year, both of them find each other on 25 points, Luton in 9th and Reading in 11th. 3 points tonight for either side could see them leap into the playoff positions, but likewise, if one of them loses, they could slowly slip down the table. 2 changes for Reading tonight as Andy Carroll and Junior Hoylett come in for Loom and McIntyre. 3 changes for Luton. Bradley, Cornick and Mpanzu come in for Clark, Lansbury and top goal scorer, Morris.
Thank you very much, Cameron. Preston, Coventry and Luton, all those games are 7:45 kickoffs. A couple of 8 o'clock kickoffs also that we're keeping our eye on in the Championship tonight. The first of which is Bristol City hosting Sheffield United at Ashton Gate. Ollie Power is all over this one for us.
Sorry about that. Yeah, here at Ashton Gate, Bristol host your beloved Sheffield United, Will, after a 1-1 draw against their 7-side rivals, Swansea, with Sheffield United coming off the back of a much-needed 2-0 win to put them back up in the top 4, having lost 6 in a row before that. So getting their promotion hopes back on track here tonight, hopefully. Team news is in, with Bristol playing their usual 5-back formation with Zach Viner at the heart of it, with Tanner and Cameron Pring coming in either side of him to replace their usual centre-backs. And for Sheffield United, Billy Sharp makes a surprise appearance, with Ryan Brewster, the star man at the moment, out with an injury to his hamstring in the week.
Thank you very much, Ollie. You're keeping an eye on Bristol City against Sheffield United. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff in the Championship this evening. Also, an 8 o'clock kickoff is the Baggies of West Bromwich Albion hosting Blackpool at the Hawthorns. Didn't have a particularly good weekend last weekend, West Brom. Will it be a little bit better for them tonight? Well, Luke Hale is watching this one for us.
I'm at the Hawthorns tonight for West Brom versus Blackpool. West Brom in 24th, not the start, as you say, Will, that they would have wanted. Can they bounce back tonight? Carlos Corberán will be hoping so in his second game in charge of the Baggies. 3 changes in total for West Brom, with Peters, Livermore and Diagna dropping out for Bartley, Yurkoslu and Swift. And 1 change in total from the 1-2 victory over Coventry at the weekend for Blackpool, and Patino drops out due to illness and is replaced by Wright here.
Thank you very much to Luke. So they're the games going on in the Championship that we're covering this evening. We've also got some Champions League matches. We'll be focusing on those in a moment or so. But before that, there's games in the National League. We have a reporter at Eastleigh against Scunthorpe. We'll bring that more on that to you in a moment or so. But also in the Southern League Premier Division South tonight, local team Winchester City are taking on Bracknell Town at the Sibley Health City Ground. And there watching for us is Saj Rahman. Saj.
For Anthony Cheshire.
Hello, Will. Yes, I'm here at the Chartered Estate Stadium, where Winchester City take on Bracknell Town in a mid-table clash in the Southern League Premier. But Bracknell do have one eye on their first ever FA Cup first round tie at the weekend against Ipswich. They are hosting Ipswich in the FA Cup first round, and therefore the manager has made 4 changes to the side off the back of FA Bar's advancement at the weekend against Northleaf. The 2 top goal scorers, Jordan Esprit and Daryl Sanders, both dropped to the bench with an eye on the FA Cup at the weekend. Whereas the Winchester side, they've also made 4 changes after getting absolutely hammered 5-0 by Swindon Supermarine at the weekend in the FA Bars. It is 4 changes where their second top goal scorer, Silvano Abeng, drops out, and in comes Chug into the midfield to look to shoring up that defence that has been leaking goals. Neither side has kept a clean sheet. Bracknell haven't kept one away from home. Winchester haven't kept one at home. So be expecting some goals here today, Will.
Well, let's hope so. It certainly sounds as though Saj has got the fireworks down there at Winchester. Let's hope that he has the fireworks on the pitch as well. Thank you very much to him. In League One, there's some 7:45 kickoffs that'll be getting underway in a few moments or so that we're keeping our eye very much on. One of them is an interesting looking encounter between Oxford United and Fleetwood Town at the Kassam Stadium. Will Tyrrell is reporting on this one tonight.
Yes, I am, Will. Thank you very much. Oxford United welcome Fleetwood to the home ground this evening. Both teams expected to be doing better than they are so far this season. They both won their midweek fixtures. 2 changes for Oxford, both Steve Seddon and Marcus Brown come in for Sam Long and Gallagher Donker. And then for Fleetwood, Joe Garner and Brendan Sapong Wedu drops to the bench for Batty and Warrington. It's an important game for both teams in the bottom half of the table. It'll be a very fiery encounter, and kickoff is 5 minutes away.
The Kassam Stadium, Will Tyrrell there for us, Oxford United against Fleetwood Town. Lincoln City, also in the same division, are entertaining Accrington at the LNER Stadium. Charlie Parker's all over this one for us.
Yes, thank you, Will. Lincoln can go into the top 10 with a win tonight, and they've made 4 changes, maybe with a look for the weekend. Daniel Madroy drops out due to a knock he picked up at Port Vale at the weekend. Sean Rowan, Max Sambers, and Timmy Iowa drop to the bench. Charles Vernam, Lasse Sorensen, Jamie Robson, and Joe Welsh come in. And for Accrington Stanley, there's been 2 changes. Baba Fernandez and Seamus Connolly drop to the bench, and Harvey Rogers and Danny Vaughan step in.
Thank you very much, Charlie, who's keeping an eye on Lincoln City against Accrington this evening. In the Papa John's Trophy tonight, Pompey, the side just down the other end of the M27 from us here in Southampton, from Solent University. They're in action against AFC Wimbledon at Fratton Park. Jack Peskett is watching this one for us. Jack.
I'm here at the stormy Fratton Park tonight to see Pompey versus Wimbledon. Pompey just need a draw to qualify, and for that they've made 8 changes excuse me, from Saturday's game against Shrewsbury. Josh Oluwemi, Kieran Freeman, Michael Morrison, Denver Hume, Joe Morrell, Ronan Curtis, and Joe Piggott all returned to the 11. For Wimbledon, they've already through a 100% record. And tonight they have made 10 changes, wholesale changes to Wimbledon. Nathan Broom, Kwaku Frimpong, Luke Jenkins, Isaac Odudere, Quayne Bartley, Kyle Hudlin, Hussein Billa, Paris Magoma, Alfie Bendel, and Courtney Senior all returned to the side. Interestingly enough, these 2 faced off in the group stage of this competition last year, which was finished 5-3 to Wimbledon. So let's hope we have the same amount of goals tonight.
You'll certainly be hoping for that, Jack. That is for sure. Thank you very much indeed. Anything goes on down at Fratton Park, and Jack will bring it to us here on Solent Sports Midweek Live. We also mentioned in the National League that Eastleigh are entertaining Scunthorpe tonight at the Silver Lake Stadium. There for us this evening is Adam Tilner. Adam.
Hello there, Will. Thank you. Here at the Silver Lake Stadium, the match is about to kick off slowly. Eastleigh are going for their 10th game without defeat here at home, and their opponents, Scunthorpe, currently sits 20th in the league, and then we'll be looking to get some sort of points to get out of that bottom part of the table. For Eastleigh, a win here could mean that they would be 1 point away from promotion places, and that was certainly the aim this season for them, to try and fight for that promotion and get something out of the season. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adam, who's keeping an eye on Eastleigh against Scunthorpe at the Silver Lake tonight. So most of those games across the National League, the Southern League Premier Division South, the Sky Bet Championship, Sky Bet League One, and the Papa John's Trophy, most of those, well, not all of them, are 7:45 kickoffs. But tonight, of course, we'll also be keeping an eye on what's going on in the Champions League. 8 o'clock kickoffs tonight involving a number of British teams, the first of which in a big game down in the south of France. It's almost win or bust for Spurs away at Marseille in Group D. At the Stade Velodrome is Ben Hayward.
Yes, Will, I've made the journey to the Stade Velodrome. It's absolutely rocking here in France. Marseille, they're bottom of the group, but it's all to play for still. They could still qualify, despite the fact they're at the bottom of the group. They can still make the last 16 if Sporting and Frankfurt draw, and vice versa. They could become the first group winners if they beat Spurs and Sporting and Frankfurt going to draw. They haven't beaten an English side since 2010, though, so it could make an interesting encounter. And they've just won 1 in their last 6 games at home. The stadium's rocking, and it's been an absolute. It's been chaotic trying to get into the stadium, especially after last night's events of plenty of Marseille fans waking up the Spurs team at 4 a.m., which was, the gamesmanship's awful here in France. Spurs they're 1 point clear at the top of the group, despite the fact Conte has got a touchline ban. They only need a point to progress into the last 16, but it's win or bust, as you say, Will, because they could still fall out. Marseille, the home side, they only make 1 change to their starting 11 from their last game in the Champions League. Eric Bailly comes in for centre-half Samuel Gigot, obviously former Manchester United man, very similar, and he's played against the likes of Harry Kane and Son Heung-min a few times in the past in the Premier League. Whereas Spurs, they've made 2 changes. Christian Romero, colossal centre-half, isn't involved tonight for Tottenham, whereas Matthew Doherty drops out at right wing back for Ryan Sessegnon. We presume Ivan Perisic is going to go over to the right, with Sessegnon going over to the left. But it should be an interesting encounter with both sides setting up very similarly in their 3-5-2 format. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, Will. And like I say, the stadium is absolutely rocking it.
Dirty tactics being employed by the Marseille fans, perhaps trying to do their bit to make Tottenham a little bit tired for tonight's match. Thanks very much to Ben. So also in Group D, as Ben was mentioning, it's all to play for between Marseille, Tottenham, Sporting and Eintracht Frankfurt. Sporting and Frankfurt take on each other tonight at the Stadio José Alvalade Stadium in Lisbon. Watching for us is Dylan Shavas. Dylan.
Thanks, Will, and welcome to Stadio José Alvalade for this Crunch Champions League clash between Sporting Lisbon and Eintracht Frankfurt. It's extremely tight in Group D, and any of the four sides involved could still progress to the knockout stages, and that includes both Tottenham and Marseille in tonight's other game. There are two changes for both sides tonight. For the host Sporting, both Arthur Gomez and Pedro Gonçalves come in, the latter returning from suspension. Whilst in the other camp, Frankfurt also have centre-back Tuta back after he was suspended for their home tie against Marseille. Juventus loanee Luca Pellegrini is back in the starting 11 too. It promises to be an intriguing clash tonight. Sporting will be looking for just their fifth win against German sides at the 30th attempt. However, one of the previous four did come against Frankfurt in the opening week of this Champions League season. But both these sides lost at the weekend, and Frankfurt have lost just 2 away games all season, so anything could really happen.
Indeed it could. Probably the tightest group that we've known in Champions League recent history, going very much down to the wire. But one thing that's not going down to the wire is Liverpool's progression in the Champions League. Something that is a little bit more fraught is the fact that they're probably not going to be anywhere near the top of the Premier League table this season. So it's all or nothing really for them in the Champions League this season. They'll be wanting to end their Group A with a win against Napoli tonight at Anfield. Watching for us is Louis Moore.
Good evening, Will. As you said at the start of the show, it's a bit of a nothing game, so you'd expect the managers to maybe hand out some debuts, play a weaker squad, but they've done quite the opposite. Jurgen Klopp started with the ever-steady Alisson in goal. He's gone with the back four of Kostas Tsimikas and Alexander-Arnold as the fullbacks. Ibrahima Konate comes in for Gomez after his torrid time on the weekend against Leeds, and he's partnered with Van Dijk. In the midfield, Fabinho and Thiago alongside the experienced James Milner. And the front three tonight is Curtis Jones, Roberto Firmino, and the Egyptian king, Mohamed Salah. As for Napoli, Alex Merritt starts in goal. They've also gone for a back four of Mateus Oliveira and Giovanni Di Lorenzo as the fullbacks. Ostergaard and Kim Min-jae, who won September Player of the Month in Serie A, start at centre-half. And a midfield three of Lobotka, Ndombele and Anguissa sit just behind Osimhen, Politano, and forgive me if I butcher the name, Gavitska Kvaratskhelia.
Easy for you to say, Louis, not easy for anyone else. Thank you very much indeed. Liverpool against Napoli. Louis will be watching that one for us tonight. So they're 8 o'clock kickoffs in the Champions League. Still got 3 more to preview, but before we go on, and we've had a couple of goals in some 7:45 kickoffs already. There's a goal in the League One match at Oxford, and let's find out which way it's gone. Will Tyrrell.
Yeah, Will, cheers. It's gone to Fleetwood, literally 30 seconds in, maybe the worst possible start for the Yellows. A ball on the right-hand side, about 25 yards out, a shot towards goal. Simon Eastwood, he's done a lot better in recent games, although he has come under a lot of fire so far this season with the number one goalkeeper going out on loan, not being fully fit. The ball will strike towards goal. It's pretty much at chest height, and he's kind of parried it. He's fumbled the ball, and it's fallen about 5 yards out. And Mendes is sat up lovely, and it's a bicycle kick, and just Eastwood has no chance to save it. 1-0 to Fleetwood, 3.5 minutes gone.
Thank you very much, Will. So early blow there for Oxford United at home against Fleetwood, who have the lead inside the first couple of minutes. There's also been an early goal gone in the game in the Southern League Premier Division South at Simply Health City Ground. Winchester taking on Bracknell Town. Which way has it gone? Sarge Rahman.
Will, I promised you goals here today, and 2 minutes in, it's Bracknell Town 1, Winchester City 0. Joe Grant charged down the right-hand flank. He crosses the low ball into Cameron English, who swivels on the sixpence and buries it in the bottom right-hand corner. Winchester, a nightmare start, but we've seen it already this season. 4 times they've conceded in the opening 15 minutes. They've always fallen behind at home. Make that 5 times, Will, because it's currently Winchester 0, Bracknell Town, I should say, 1.
Fantastic stuff. So 2 early goals gone in there. Thank you very much, Sarge. 1 in League One, 1 in the Southern League Premier Division South. Both teams in those 2 matches, both home teams rather in those 2 matches, trailing at the moment. Okay, let's go back to the previews then. We got up as far as Liverpool in Group A. Also in that same group, Rangers taking on Ajax at Ibrox. Another bit of a dead rubber to some extent, because we already know what's happening to Rangers this season, and we already know their European run, if you like, has ended. But watching that one for us tonight is James Humphreys. James.
Hi, Will. Thank you. Yeah, well, as we all know, both Rangers and Ajax have massively struggled in Group A so far, with 1 win between the 2 sides in 5 games. Ajax actually won the reverse fixture 4-0. And as a result, it means the away side need just a draw to make it into the Europa League knockout stages. Rangers have made 3 changes to the side that beat Aberdeen 4-1 in the Scottish Premiership at the weekend. Borna Barisic, Scott Arfield and Stephen Davis come into the starting 11 for the injured duo of Ridvan Yilmaz and Ben Davis, while John Lundstrom is suspended. Ajax have also gone with a full-strength side as well, with the likes of Ian Windale and Urin Timber at the back, and a deadly front 3 of Steven Bergwijn, Dusan Tadic and Mohamed Kudus all starting attack.
Thank you very much to James, who's keeping an eye on Rangers against Ajax in Group A of the Champions League tonight. On to Group C then, also in an 8 o'clock kickoff. Bayern Munich taking on Inter Milan. 2 real heavyweights of European football coming up against one another at the Allianz Arena. Barnaby Page is all over this one for us.
Well, thank you, Will. You join me here in Bavaria tonight for a bit of a dead rubber. Both teams are through to the next round, Bayern winning the group. They've made 5 changes from their 6-2 victory at Mainz, with Pavard, Koeman, Sabitzer, Gravenberg and Stanisic coming in for De Ligt, Goretzka, Musiala and Mane. Inter Milan have also made changes, 7 changes in total. Acerbi, Darmian, Gersons, Gagliardini, Aslioni, Bellanova and Correa coming in for Skriniar, Bastoni, Dumfries, Chalanoli, Mkhitaryan, Di Marco and Dzeko. Probably Simeone Inzaghi is looking for their game next weekend against Juventus. A contentious game, both teams struggling, so changes afloat for both teams here tonight, Will.
Changes, but hopefully let's have some goals between Bayern Munich and Inter Milan. Thanks, Barnaby. Okay, and last but not least, Liam Jones is keeping an eye on Victoria and Pleasant against Barca. Not been the best season, it's got to be said, for either one of those 2 teams this year, particularly Barcelona, who won't be going through to the latter stages. But all, of course, can happen. So, as I say, at the Strunkovi Sadi Stadium is Liam Jones for us tonight. Liam.
Yeah, thank you very much, Will. Like you said, Barcelona not having the best time in the Champions League this season. They're actually already out. Both of these teams, their positions are sorted. Pilsen will be coming 4th in the group. Barcelona will be coming 3rd and going into the Europa League, like you said. And so Xavi's probably taken this time and he's going to be doing some rotation with the squad. So a lot of the big names are out today. No Lewandowski, he didn't even fly to the Czech Republic. He's got a slight knock, according to Xavi. No Koundé as well, injured during the week. Dembele, ter Stegen, Pedri and Frankie de Jong are all on the bench for Barcelona, who start in midfield. 19-year-old Pablo Torre Corral, maybe a name for the future there, and his 4th appearance in a Barcelona shirt. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. Both teams lining up with 4 at the back formations, going to be maybe a bit attacking. Hopefully, obviously, Victoria Pleasant are out, but maybe they can get a prideful win here in Czech Republic.
Let's see. They need all the pride they can get, that is for sure. So Liam will be keeping an eye on anything that goes on in that particular match. Okay. Roughly 10 minutes or so gone in the 7:45 kickoffs. Not a whole host of goals yet. In fact, scanning the leagues, there's not been many goals at all. Just to remind you that there were a couple of games in the Champions League group stages earlier on this evening. FC Porto beat Atletico Madrid by 2-1, and Leverkusen and Club Brugge both drew 0-0. So not an evening for a whole load of goals just yet. As I say that, in League One, Wycombe have taken the lead against Port Vale. It's Wycombe 1, Port Vale 0. And as we say, we already knew that it was Oxford United 0, Fleetwood Town 1. Okay, let's go back round the grounds then to our 7:45 kickoffs. Let's find out how the opening stages have gone between Preston and Swansea at Deepdale. Watching for us is George Rees-Julian.
We're 9 minutes into the game here at Deepdale, and to be honest, Will, not very much has happened at all. Swansea have had the bulk of possession. They've been passing it around the back, but they haven't really been incisive. Olivier Ncham is dropping quite deep. He's looking to turn and drive at the Preston players, but so far Swansea are yet to even break into the box. Preston have just had the first shot of the game, Alan Brown, from the edge of the box, but really was never going to test Stephen Bender in the Swansea goal. Just 10 minutes gone, still 0-0.
Thanks very much to George. And another 7:45 kickoff in the Championship this evening. Coventry entertaining Blackburn at the Coventry Building Society Arena. As Kit was telling us earlier on, there was doubts as to whether or not this game was even going to take place due to administration problems and all sorts. Was it worth it, Kit? How's the first 10 minutes been?
Well, to be honest, the opening 10 minutes of the game have been pretty quiet. The only major effort of the game so far has been from Brereton Diaz for Blackburn, penetrated into the area. His effort looks so good, so clean, just killed wide of that far post. As for the home side, Coventry, really their only big opportunity so far actually was Thomas Kaminski, the Blackburn goalkeeper, fumbling the ball around at his feet, almost losing possession. But so far, through the first 10 minutes of the game, 0-0.
Thank you very much to Kit. Luton Town are entertaining Reading at Kenilworth Road and 7:45. Watching for us, Cam Anderson-Jones. Have the first 10 minutes been, Cam?
It's been end-to-end here at Kenilworth Road for the first 10 minutes. The best chance of the game has come to James Bree as he pulled it back from the penalty area and put it into the 6-yard box. And it was Harry Cornick who got the winner this time last year on the last game of the season to put Luton into the playoffs, but he dragged his shot just wide of the post. Reading have started to have a few chances now, but haven't been able to get any of them on target. Still 0-0 here. Luton 0, Reading 0.
Thank you very much to Cam. Bristol City, Sheffield United and West Brom against Blackpool, also in the Championship, about to get underway. Elsewhere in the football tonight, in the National League, Eastleigh taking on Scunthorpe at the Silver Lake Stadium. There for us is Adam Tilner. Adam.
Yes, well, not much going on here at Silver Lake Stadium. It's been a battle in the midfield so far. Few chances here and there on both sides, nothing too big. Currently, Eastleigh are taking a free kick from a nice position. There could be a run in behind, so we'll wait for that. Puts the ball into the box. Defense hits it, but Eastleigh player got it on the shot from outside the box, but it's blocked. It's back to midfield. So, it's another foul, and Eastleigh will be having another break free kick just outside the box. But it's 0-0 here so far in the 15th minute.
Thank you very much to Adam. Let's go down to the Southern League Premier Division South then. Winchester City against Bracknell Town at the Simply Health City Ground. Last time we heard from Saj Rahman, Bracknell had taken the lead. What's the state of play now, Saj?
Yes, Will. There's fireworks behind me before the game. There's fireworks on the pitch. It's now 1-1. Winchester City's first attack. They get to the edge of a box and Captain Dan Bayliss of Bracknell Town handles it just on the edge of a box. And I was thinking, Winchester have left their main free kick specialist out of the team today. Daniel Neild isn't included in the 16-man squad. And I was thinking, who's going to take the free kick? They have no one. But upsteps the top goal scorer, Warren Bentley, and he's just delicately clipped it into the top left corner over the wall. The goalkeeper stood rooted to the spot. And Warren Bentley made me eat my words. It's his 7th goal of the season, and it's 1-1 after 10 minutes here at Winchester.
Thank you very much, Saj. So Saj has loaded in on the goals already. 2 for him, 1 for either side so far tonight. We're talking of goals. Last time we caught up with Will Terrell, he was telling us about a goal in the game between Oxford and Fleetwood at the Kassam Stadium. 15 minutes gone? What's the state of play at the moment then, Will?
Yeah, unfortunately, not any more goals to report on here, Will. But it's been a very feisty game, as I thought it might be, with two teams at the wrong end of the table. United did have one really, really good effort. If the ball fell to Stuart Finley, after a corner was taken about 6 yards out. Unfortunately, it was on his left foot, and he swung at it and he's not really caught it very well. It's been a bit scruffy, but the no more than 30 Fleetwood fans are still when the Leopards still have that goal to cheer about.
Thank you very much to Will. Now, Lincoln against Accrington. This was a game that a team started in mid-table in Lincoln against a team that were looking to avoid dropping into the bottom four in Accrington Stanley. 15 minutes in. How are things going so far then in this particular match? As I look down my list, of course, it's Charlie Parker watching this one for us. Charlie.
Well, it's been a very cagey affair so far. Both teams have matched each other formation-wise, but 15 minutes in, we haven't had a single shot. The one opportunity came for Lincoln when Harvey Rogers gave the ball away very cheaply on the edge of the box. Ben House and Sorensen played a quick 1-2, but Astley came in for Accrington Stanley to tackle Ben House, and it went out harmlessly for a corner. The resulting corner came in and missed everyone completely and went out for a goal kick. 15 minutes in, still 0-0.
Thank you very much to Charlie. Now, there's been a goal in the Papa John's Trophy tonight. Portsmouth entertaining AFC Wimbledon. Which way has it gone, Jack Pesca?
It's gone to Pompey, Will, and it is Ronan Curtis who breaks the deadlock. Wimbledon's inexperience has really showed here really scrappy defending, which allowed Dane Scarlett to capitalise on a goalmouth scramble, and the ball fell to Ronan Curtis, who slotted home. Other than that, Wimbledon did have a chance to score with Bartley, who a cross-come shot almost caught goalkeeper Joshua Oluwumi out. Other than that, not a lot's going on. 15 minutes in, 1-0 to Pompey.
Thank you very much to Jack. Well, I tell you what, I'm glad we've got a reporter at the Southern League Premier Division South match between Winchester and Bracknell tonight, because we've only been playing a little over 15 minutes, but there's already 3 goals. There's been another one. Which way has it gone this time, Sarge Rahman?
Well, this game is absolutely incredible. Winchester down one end, Simba Milambo at the back post from a corner. He thought he'd scored, but there's a goal line clearance to clear up the pitch. Bracknell break down the other end, and it's that man again, Cameron English, who steals in at the back post and just knocks it into the far corner again. It's his second goal of the game. He's doubled his tally for the season, and now it's Bracknell 2, Winchester 1.
Scenes down there at the Simply Health City ground, and as you can see, the fans behind Sarge, wrapped up warm and clearly enjoying the action tonight. 3 goals gone and not even 20 minutes played. Thank you very much to Sarge. Okay, let's find out what's well, in fact, the games have just begun in the Champions League, so let's have a quick update, see what's going on. Let's go first of all to Ben Hayward, who's keeping his eye on Marseille against Tottenham. First couple of minutes, how are things started down in the south of France for you, Ben?
I'll tell you what, Will, you've just come out at me at the perfect time, because Alexis Sanchez has nearly scored within the first 3 minutes. Lovely ball in by the Moroccan midfielder, Amin Harit, with the outside of his boot. He's found Sanchez, who's ran on the front of his marker, and he just glanced it far wide of Lloris's goal. Lloris is at full stretch. But like you say, good start from Marseille, if anything. They're dictating the tempo a little bit. Spurs look a little bit shaky, I must admit. Clearly a bit more, they're still shaking from last night's antics with the fireworks by the looks of it. But yeah, 3 minutes gone here. Not much else to report on. Guendouzi with a long ball. Nothing comes of it. Yep, still 0-0 here at Stade de Velodrome.
Thank you very much, Ben. So that's Group D. Elsewhere in Group D, Spurs fans, whilst also keeping an eye on what's going on in their game, will be looking with interest at what's happening between Sporting and Eintracht Frankfurt. Dylan Shavas is all over this one for us. Dylan.
Yeah, not much to report here so far. Just under 3 minutes gone here at the Estadio Jose Alvalade. If I had to pick one side, Eintracht Frankfurt, I probably enjoyed the majority of possession so far, but it's a fairly even game. It looks like it's going to be end to end, and both sets of fans seem really up for this. So I can't wait to see what happens.
Hopefully, goals is what will happen. More on that as we come throughout the evening. Okay, so no goals for Tottenham so far. Are there any goals or any hints of any goals in the game between Liverpool and Napoli at Anfield, Louis Moore?
There was a good chance for Curtis Jones there as Mohamed Salah played him in on the left-hand side. He went to lift it over the Napoli goalkeeper Merritt, but it's gone just over the bar. 5 minutes in, Napoli, they were pressing Liverpool to begin with, but have seemed to slow down on the press. Liverpool with a couple of sloppy passes, but it's been a close game, very end-to-end so far.
Thank you very much to Louis. I believe we've had another goal at Winchester. So it's time to go back to the Southern League Premier Division South match at the Simply Health City Ground. Last we heard it was Winchester 1, Bracknell Town 2. Which way is this latest goal gone then, Sarge?
Will, this match is absolutely crazy. It looks like every attack is going to end up in a goal. But this one falls to the visitors, Bracknell Town. It is again Joe Grant that is at the heart of the action. He got the assist for the first goal. He's got another assist now as he played in Liam Ferguson. Ferguson strikes with his right foot. It takes a wicked deflection. The goalkeeper's dived to his bottom right, but the ball's just deflected and gone into the bottom left. Now Bracknell have 2 goals in 2 minutes and lead 3-1 after 20 minutes.
Not even halfway stage in the first half, and Sarge has already seen 4 goals. Thank you very much to him. So that's the place, obviously, for the goals this evening. Let's check in with James and find out what's going on in the early stages between Rangers and Ajax at Ibrox. James Humphreys.
Well, we have actually had an early goal here, Will. The visibility on the pitch at pitch level at the start of the game wasn't the greatest, as the lively Rangers fans have been letting off flares for some time before kickoff. But perhaps that hasn't actually helped their team, because they've actually find themselves 1-0 down. It's a brilliant break from Ajax. It's a lovely ball gets played down the left-hand side. And it's cut back to their striker Kudos, whose first time layoff was met by Berghaus. It's not the cleanest of finishes, as his left-footed effort just trickled past Alan McGregor in the Rangers net. It massively wrong-footed the Rangers keeper. And yeah, it's 1-0 Ajax here after about 5 minutes played.
Thank you very much, James. So there we are. It doesn't matter how they go in, so long as they go in some way. That's in Group A. In Group C, Bayern Munich taking on Inter Milan in the early stages there. Barnaby Page, what's there to report?
Well, it's actually been quite an entertaining first 6 minutes, Will. Chances for both teams, very end-to-end game so far. Inter probably dominating possession out of the two. Bayern Munich had a free kick at the 30-yard line, and it was a comfortable save for Onana straight at him. And Inter Milan have just had a shot of their own from 25 yards out from a free kick, shot from Lautaro Martinez, and with a comfortable save for Sven Ulreich. 0-0 here, Will.
Thank you very much to Barnaby. Let's check in with the other game in Group C. Then Liam Jones is keeping an eye on Victoria Pilsen against Barcelona, and I have a feeling you may have seen the opening goal of the game, Liam.
Yeah, I have, Will. Predictably, it's gone to Barcelona 6 minutes in. It's Marcos Alonso. It was brilliant interplay between Ferran Torres and Ansu Fati on that left wing. Torres slips him in. Fati opens his body, tries to place it bottom right corner. Keeper gets over it. It sort of spins towards the goal line, and Marcos Alonso, who was charging forward all the way from centre-back, just stabs it over the line with his toe. It was a big clash of bodies in there, but Marcos Alonso does get the last touch. 1-0 Barcelona, 7 minutes in.
Anyway, it just goes to show, doesn't it, that even in a season that seems to be going from bad to worse for Barcelona, they can still score goals when they need to. Okay, thanks to Liam. Right, let's check in back with our championship games then. 7:45 kickoff. So what we've had almost 25 minutes, I suppose, or thereabouts in the game between Preston and Swansea at Deepdale. Last we heard, there wasn't a huge amount to report on. But what's happened in the last few minutes since we were last with you, George?
Well, just about 2 minutes ago, Whiteman in the Preston midfield has been forced off with what looks like a muscular injury. He went down, received treatment for about 2 minutes. The physio decided he wasn't able to continue. Ryan Ledson has come on in his place, but moments before they could get the former Everton midfielder onto the pitch, Swansea almost made their brief extra man count when Jay Fulton crossed for Joel Piroux, but the Dutchman could only head his effort just wide of the post. 24 minutes gone here at Deepdale, it's still 0-0.
Thank you very much, George. Let's see whether or not there's been any action in the last few moments between Coventry and Blackburn at the Coventry Building Society Arena. Kit McIntosh.
Well, nothing to report on in terms of goals so far, but Coventry and Blackburn both really warming up into this game now. A few minutes ago, Gyökeres got through. Really great effort. Tipped over the bar. Tipped away by the goalkeeper Kaminski. And then just before you came to me, another big effort from Allen, who was played through by Hamer. The ball just got away from his foot. Couldn't quite get it under his control. But you just get the feeling that there's going to be a goal sometime soon. But after 25 minutes, still 0-0.
Thank you very much to Kit. Let's just quickly actually go back to the Champions League, because the one that we're keeping our eye on probably more than any other, in actual fact, is the match between Marseille and Spurs. And I believe, Ben, that there's been an early substitution due to an injury, yeah?
Yeah, and it's a bit of a key one, Will, but to be honest with you, it's not necessarily a shocker. It's Eric Bailly who's came into the squad tonight. Obviously, the only change made from Marseille, it looks as if he's done his hamstring and he's been forced off after 7 minutes. Samuel Gijot, who has been replaced by Bailly for tonight, he's been stripped and he's just came on for the former Manchester United centre-half. But yeah, it's disappointing because I feel like manager Igor Tudor has put him in to match up with Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. You know, he's played against them boys a fair few times in the Premier League prior to his move to Marseille. But yeah, at the moment, Marseille still dominating the ball. Spurs looking to catch them on the counter-attack. But like I say, considering it's the biggest game of the night, I think both teams are a little bit nervous and I've got not much else to report on, Will. So still 0-0 here.
Thank you very much to Ben. Okay, back to the Championship then. Another 7:45 kickoff. Luton against Reading at Kenilworth Road. Last we heard there hadn't been any goals. Any sniff of a goal yet, Cameron?
There's still no goals here at the moment. Reading have only just started to really impose themselves on the game. They've had 2 corners in a row now. Now they've got a free kick. So they're trying to get a goal here. They're pushing and probing, but it has been all Luton and they've had the best chance of the game. It's come to Adebayo, who's tried to shoot from a very tight angle, but Lumley down to his left. Easy enough save for the former QPR goalkeeper. But it's Adebayo who's causing all the problems here tonight. The 3 centre-halves as Reading cannot deal with him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the score sheet later.
Thank you very much to Cameron. Okay, then 8 o'clock kickoff. Bristol City entertaining Sheffield United at Ashton Gate. Again, last we heard, there hadn't been any goals. What are we, 12, 13 minutes in? Any sniff of a goal in the last few minutes, Ollie?
No, not so far, Will, unfortunately. 0-0 so far, few long balls, quite a cagey affair. Bristol have arguably been the side on top so far. It was Alex Scott, about 10 minutes in the midfield, played a beautiful ball down the right-hand side, just cut open the defence. Looking to find right wing-back Sykes. However, it was John Egan, the experienced ex-Premier League defender, who cut it out. That's probably the biggest chance so far. I think Sheffield are really missing that cutting edge already. The few times that they've, have gone forward on the counter-attack, they are missing Ollie McBurney heavily, who's had 7 goals already this season.
So 13 minutes in, 0-0 so far between Bristol City and Sheffield United. Sheffield United, of course, beat West Brom at the weekend. They're entertaining Blackpool at the Hawthorns this evening. Again, 12 or 13 minutes in. Any hint of a goal yet, Luke Hale?
There's not a lot to report at the moment. We haven't had a shot on target yet. However, John Swift has got down the right a couple of times, but West Brom haven't been able to make any chances as such as of yet. They've had the majority of the ball, though. Blackpool haven't come into this game whatsoever yet. However, 14 minutes have gone here now, and it's still West Brom 0, Blackpool 0.
Thank you very much to Luke. Okay, let's head off back to the Champions League action. We heard from Ben only a moment or so ago, so let's go to the other game in Group D. Sporting against Eintracht Frankfurt. Dylan Shavas, how have the first 14, 15 minutes gone?
Yeah, it's been really entertaining, actually. You just missed Eintracht Frankfurt had a corner, which was given away after Pedro Porro blocked the cross. And that corner was actually headed back by their Sporting striker Paulinho and had to be cleared off the line by goalkeeper Antonio Adam. So nearly an own goal to start things off here in Lisbon, which would not be an ideal start for Sporting fans, who actually have a massive banner in their stand which reads, "We want 3 points." And it was nearly a horrendous start for them, but hopefully hopefully the chances will keep on flowing, and it's been an end-to-end game so far. 13 and a half minutes gone, still Sporting 0, Frankfurt 0. Back to you in the studio, Will.
Thanks, Dylan. Okay, in Group A, Liverpool entertaining Napoli at Anfield. Last we heard, there wasn't a huge amount to shout about. Liverpool possibly going close at one stage. Any hint of an opener at all, Louis?
There was a bit of a rogue penalty shout from Napoli just a minute ago, as it was Kvaratskhelia who went down from a challenge from Konate. Nothing really came of it. The referee waved it away. Since then, Napoli have been forcing the ball to the Georgian winger, and he's been giving Alexander-Arnold a horrible time out on that left-hand side or right-hand side, depending where you want to look at it. A couple of nice crosses from him, one just being cleared away from Van Dijk there, but not too much to shout about. It's 50 minutes played and it's still 0-0.
Thank you very much to Louis. Also in Group A, Rangers taking on Ajax. Last we heard there was a goal, wasn't there? James Humphreys told us about. Any additions to the scoreline, James?
No, nothing major to update here, Will, apart from the fact that the Rangers fans at the Ibrox, there's already a sense of frustration creeping into them. Rangers are yet to impose themselves on the game. They're giving Ajax way too much time and space in the middle, and Alvarez for Ajax is dropping deep to dictate the play. Also, another interesting thing I've noticed is James Tavernier at right back. He's been caused some problems by Steven Bergwijn so far, as out of possession, it looks like Ajax are gifting him the opportunity to stay high and wide and not really thinking about tracking back on the Englishman. So it's also giving the right back something to think about coming the other way with a counter-attack.
Thank you very much to James. We have a goal in the Championship. It's in the game between Preston and Swansea at Deepdale. Which way has it gone? George Rees-Julian.
It's gone the way of the hosts Preston, but it's an absolute gift by Harry Darling, who failed to clear Brown's cross. The ball landed straight to the path of Ched Evans, who was about 2 yards away from Stephen Bender. He spun, shot the ball straight at the German keeper, but it rebounded straight into the path of Brad Potts, who smashed home into the net. Preston take the lead on the half-an-hour mark.
Thank you very much to George. So Preston ahead against Swansea, all square so far between Bristol City and Sheffield United, and West Brom and Blackpool. Our other featured games in the Championship still 0-0 between Luton and Reading and Coventry and Blackburn. However, 32 minutes gone in the game between Hull and Middlesbrough, and Middlesbrough have just recently taken the lead. Akpom has just put one in for Middlesbrough on the half-hour mark. So it's Hull 0, Middlesbrough 1. Elsewhere in football tonight, we've heard that Wycombe are beating Port Vale by a goal to 0. They still are. Also in League One, Lincoln 0, Accrington 0, and Morecambe 0, Derby 0. In League Two, it's Barrow 2, Colchester 0, Tranmere 0, Stockport 0. In the National League, Altrincham and Wealdstone are drawing 0-0. Barnet and Southend also. It's 1-1 between Chesterfield and Gateshead. 0-0, as we've heard, between Eastleigh and Scunthorpe. Maidstone United 0, Solihull Moors 0. Notts County 1, Bromley 0. Torquay 3-0 up at home to Aldershot. 0-0 between Woking and Yeovil, and it's Wrexham 1, Maidenhead 0. And as we said, just that single goal in the game between Rangers and Ajax. That's 1-0. And I believe there's also been a goal. Of course, we knew that. Barcelona taking the lead against Pilsen. They've played 20 minutes so far. Okay, let's go back to the game against the game with Luton, because I believe Cameron Anderson-Jones that we've had an early substitution because of an injury. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 minutes we've been waiting now. Sonny Bradley's been down for an awfully long time. He went up for a header next to Mate, and instantly you could see just as soon as he touched the ground, it was evident to everyone that was watching that it's a bit unsure if it's his Achilles or his ankle that's gone, but the stretcher's out. They don't seem to know who's going to come on yet, but I think James Bree's going to go over to right centre back and someone's going to come on, but it's still players still halted here at Luton, and it's 0-0, 32 minutes in.
Okay, thank you very much to Cameron. Okay, back to the Champions League then. We got as far as Group C, Bayern against Inter Milan at the Allianz Arena. What are we, 20 minutes or so, 21 minutes gone? What's the state of play, Barnaby Page?
Yeah, thanks, Will. It's been a very competitive game so far, very end-to-end, very exciting to watch. Just as I left with you earlier, Will, there was a massive VAR shout. It went to the board. They spent about 5-6 minutes looking at it for a potential penalty from Sadio Mane, but the referee decided against it as he thought it was instinctively the Senegalese putting his hands over his face to block the shot. Since then, we've had a few half chances, Kimmich again with both shots, and we've also had a little delay in play after a head clash between Robin Gersons and Mazraoui. But still 0-0 here. Cheers, Will.
Thanks to Barnaby. Okay, and last but not least, in the game, also in Group C, between Pilsen and Barcelona, Liam Jones, what's been happening in the last couple of minutes there in that particular match, Liam?
Yeah, so obviously Barcelona, we know what they're like. They like to dominate the ball. And today is no different. It's 70% possession for Barcelona so far in these opening 20 minutes. Pilsen have just got a free kick on the edge of the area. They're going to try and whip it in and maybe get a chance. They haven't had a shot on target yet. This will be one of their probably few chances they're going to get tonight. And if they're going to really want to try and make an impression here, as they're all stood around on the box, it's whipped in. It's off the crossbar. A dive in. I don't know which defender got on it. I can't see from now, but it was a diving header in the box. It's whipped in. He goes down. His sort of head is falling towards the floor, and he hits the ball into the turf. It bounces up off the crossbar, and here they come again. Pulls in. His low shot straight at Pena in the Barca goal. So a couple of chances for Poulsen there. I mean, it's like I said, it's the first ones they've had. Barcelona have been dominating. They've been getting in behind. Ferran Torres, Ansu Fati can't get a second goal, and maybe a bit of danger for Poulsen there.
Thank you very much to Liam. So Barcelona holding out at the moment. Okay, let's drop down to the Papa John's Trophy. Jack Pesca is watching Portsmouth against AFC Wimbledon at Fratton Park, and I believe that it was almost a goal for one side or other, Jack.
Pompey are really threatening here now, Will. A corner in from Curtis, a big goalmouth scramble. The ball fell literally on the line, and a bundle of Wimbledon players have come across to clear it. And since then, another Pompey chance. Really, really ropey defending by Wimbledon as the rain is coming down, which led with a Dane Scarlett shot, which was saved by the feet of the goalkeeper. For Wimbledon, Kyle Hudlin is their main threat. You can see every ball's going into him. He had a shot, but it was saved well by Oluwemi. 33 on the clock, still 1-0 to Pompey.
Thank you very much to Jack. Okay, down to the National League then. Eastleigh taking on Scunthorpe at the Silver Lake Stadium. Watching for us tonight is Adam Tilner. Adam, what are we knocking on half an hour gone? What's the state of play there?
Well, since we last spoke, Will has certainly picked up a bit. There's been a lot of chances for Eastleigh specifically, but Scunthorpe have had a few of their own as well, which they have in right now, but it comes to nothing. And Rutherford has been making great moves on the right wing for Eastleigh. In the 35 minute, he managed to burst through all the way to the goal line and lift the ball across the box, but no one got to it. It came just wide of Abraham's, and which happened again when Brennan Cam burst it through the defense through the middle of the pitch and got into the box where he got a shot away, and it was affected by a goalkeeper and just once again got a bit too far away from Abrahams, who couldn't tap it into the empty net. So 40th minute right now, still 0-0. Good action though.
Thank you very much to Adam. Let's jump down to League One, where there's a bit of an injury crisis for the Lincoln goalkeeper. Is that right, Charlie?
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of confusion here at Lincoln because it's come from an Accrington Stanley attack where Tommy Lee's been played through. He crosses it in, but it's blocked by O'Connor. The play has happened away from the goalkeeper, and Kyle Rushworth is down and has just been substituted off after about 3 minutes waiting for Jordan Wright. It's unknown what his injury is. He was walking off gingerly, but doesn't look like a major injury. He walked off under his own power. It's quite unknown what happened, but it's still 0-0 here after 38 minutes.
Thank you very much to Charlie. So we've had a few injuries up and down the land. We've had A couple of goals. We've not had a huge number of goals, but it seems that the man that's enjoying most of the goals tonight is Sarge Rahman. He's watching Winchester City against Bracknell Town in the Southern League Premier Division South. Last we heard it was 3-1. As we approach half-time, what's the scores on the doors there, Sarge?
Yes, well, the game seems to have settled down a little bit now. Winchester are pressing for a goal back to half the deficit before half-time. As Simba Malabo rises highest, but it goes back to goalkeeper Ecox, so no trouble there. It has been all Winchester since for Bracknell, 2 goals in quick succession for Bracknell. As the home side were trying to get back into it with no avail at this moment. So it's still Winchester 1, Bracknell 3.
4 goals in the first half, though. Not a bad evening's entertainment for Sarge. And indeed, the 2 dozen, 3 dozen? Well, there's more fans over on the far side, isn't there? Maybe 5 dozen fans or so watching Winchester City against Bracknell Town tonight. Okay, let's jump down to League One, or back to League One rather. We were hearing about Lincoln and Accrington from Charlie. Let's hear about Oxford United against Fleetwood Town. Will Tyrrell, as they approach half-time, what's been happening in your game in the last few minutes?
Yeah, cheers, Will. It's gone a bit more intense, a few more chances. A lot of fouls, a lot of silly fouls given away. There've been more handbags than the Rebecca Vardy and Colleen Rooney lawsuit. Managers getting involved, a little scuffs everywhere. A few good chances for Fleetwood. One thing I've managed to work out is there's only about 30 Fleetwood fans, and it's a 416 or 7 hours and 2 minute round trip, according to Google Maps. So you can imagine why there's no more than 40 fans for a bottom of the table clash between 2 League One teams. But coming up to half-time, 41 minutes played, still 1-0 to Fleetwood.
Don't worry, Will, you might have goals in the second half, or if you don't, you can always go down to Winchester City and watch that one instead. Thank you very much to Will. Okay, let's go back to the top of our list of reporters. Let's find out what's been going on at Deepdale in the Championship tonight. Preston against Swansea. Last time we were hearing from George, there was a goal, but there was also a bit of other drama on the pitch with injuries and substitutions and what have you. Has the game settled down as we approach the half-time mark, George?
You could say it settled down a little bit, but I'm not sure the game really got going other than the injury and the goal. It's just since Preston have taken the lead, Swansea have taken control of the game once again. They're passing the ball about, but they're not really creating chances. It's been a problem at times for Swansea under Russell Martin's reign as manager. They don't really look like they're going to score a goal. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes a change at halftime. Michael Obafemi has been in red-hot form recently, so perhaps he'll look to bring him on at halftime. And Swansea, they do look like they need to change something if they're going to get themselves back into this game.
So as they approach halftime, it's still just a single goal to 0. Well, I was going to say there was no goal in our other game at the top of the Championship, Coventry against Blackburn, but that's not the case, is it, Kit McIntosh?
Well, yes, Will. Last time you came to me, I told you the 2 teams were warming up into the game, and now it's really heated up. The first goal of the game for Coventry, the home side, as Eccles played a low ball across, which found Jamie Allen in the crowded area, and such an easy tap-in from inside the 5-yard box. Smashes it, absolutely nothing the goalkeeper can do about it. Coventry have spent so much time inside the Blackburn area. You know, two penalty appeals, which the referee waved off, but none of that matters now because they've got their goal heading into the half. 43 minutes gone. It's 1-0 Coventry.
Thank you very much there to Kit. So Alan scoring for Coventry, meaning that it's Coventry 1, Blackburn 0 as they approach half-time. Also in the 7:45 Championship kickoff, Hull 0, Middlesbrough 1, Luton 0, Reading 0 at the moment. More on that one in a moment or so, and still Preston 1, Swansea 0. Let's go back to the Champions League because Ben Hayward is keeping his eye on Marseille against Spurs in a must-win game for Antonio Conte's side. Spurs will have been hoping to have all their best players firing on all cylinders tonight, but one of them isn't going to be able to play any further part. Who and why, Ben Hayward?
Yeah, and it's a massive, massive blow for Spurs as Son Heung-min has been had to been brought off for his Basuma. It's a nasty blow to Son's eye. He's went up for a challenge in the middle of the park with Chancel Mbemba moments ago, and he's caught him so. I'm just watching it back on my monitor at the stadium now, and it's a really bad collision. It's caught him right on the edge of his right at the edge of his shoulder, and Son's eye literally looks like a balloon. So he's had to get dragged off, and it looks like a bit of a change of personnel for Spurs as his Basuma has came on into the centre of midfield. We presume that we presume that Lucas Moura and Harry Kane are going to lead the line in the front two now, with more solidity in midfield for Spurs, because Tottenham cannot get going here. It's been half an hour gone, and it has been all Marseille. Alexis Sanchez, former Arsenal, of course, he's absolutely loving life against Tottenham at the moment, against his former rival. He's getting plenty of the ball. He's pinning his centre half very nicely. But no, it's a matter of time for Marseille, I think, and it could be an absolute sucker punch for Tottenham. But yeah, it's a huge, huge blow for Spurs, actually. And I think Harry Kane's going to miss him tonight. It's still 0-0.
Thank you very much there to Ben. So Spurs not scored yet. Marseille having the better of the match. And they've also lost Heung-min Son as well. So no goals in that match, but James Humphreys does have a goal to tell us about in Group A in the game between Rangers and Ajax at Ibrox. James.
Yeah, well, as soon as it looked like the signs were getting more promising for Rangers, they find themselves 2-0 down after about half an hour played here. Moments before the goal, an absolute criminal back pass across the face of goal by Barisic was picked up by Tadic on the edge of the area. Some intricate play by Ajax allowed them to get a shot off. And it seemed from that moment onwards, it just created panic throughout the whole team. And then moments later, Bergwijn's found down the left. He cuts it back for Kudos in the middle, who has acres of space, nobody around him. He turns on the ball and nonchalantly picks out his spot into the bottom corner. Even though it got a slight deflection, it was a really easy finish, and Rangers will be kicking themselves. So, it's 2-0 Ajax half an hour in.
Kudos to Kudos and kudos to Ajax as well. They lead Rangers by 2-0. We're talking of goals. There's also been another goal in the Champions League in the match between Bayern and Inter at the Allianz Arena. Which way has it gone, Barnaby Page?
Cheers, Will. It's gone the way of the host Bayern Munich. A cross in from a corner from Joshua Kimmich and Benjamin Pavard. Acres of space, free header. Just simple header into the top corner. No way Onana could get to it. 1-0 Bayern here, Will.
Thank you very much. So Bayern leading Inter by 1-0. We know that Barcelona are also beating Pilsen by 1-0, and Ajax, as we just heard, beating Rangers by 2-0. They're all the goals in the Champions League. 8 o'clock kickoffs tonight here on Solent Sports Midweek Live. Okay, let's continue with what we were saying in terms of the matches in the Championship. Cameron Anderson-Jones is watching Luton against Reading, and I imagine if it's not, it's pretty much half time, is it not, Cam?
It's not half time just yet because we're going to have, I think, a lot of stoppage due to the injury to Sonny Bradley. We did have a few chances earlier on. Mite with the best for Reading, but it was saved by Hovarth. And then otherwise, it's been very cagey here. Neither team really going for it yet. Reading starting to impose themselves on the game after what was a nervous first 20 minutes. And there's been no real chances in the last 10. So 0-0, and we'll probably still have at least 5 minutes here.
Thank you very much to Cam. In the 8 o'clock kickoffs, Bristol City entertaining Sheffield United at Ashton Gate. What are we, 33, 34 minutes in? Any danger of either side scoring, Ollie Power?
Yep, somehow still no goals here, Will. Very surprisingly, as the second and third highest scoring teams in the division, with, I believe, 53 goals in Bristol's opening 17 games this year. It's a shock that there haven't been any goals. Billy Sharp came extremely close a few minutes ago. Superb experienced movement just to shrug off two defenders, get in between them. His header straight down the keeper's arms, straight down the keeper's throat, though. And then even more recently, a huge Andreas Weimann chance for Bristol after Tanner, the Man United youth player, whipped a superb crossing from the right, but his header just wasn't enough. So, yeah, still 0-0 here. 34 minutes played.
Thank you very much to Ollie. And the other 8 o'clock kickoff that we're covering in the Championship tonight, West Brom entertaining Blackpool at the Hawthorns. Last we heard from Luke, there hadn't been any goals. Is that still the case as we approach the 35-minute mark, Luke?
Yeah, that is the case. We've only just had our first shot on target here with Grant twisting and turning outside the box, but his slow shot was comfortably saved. There hasn't been any real chances here. It hasn't been a great game. Blackpool are more than happy to just sit back and invite pressure on from West Brom, but West Brom have not been able to break them down. 35 minutes gone here. It's still 0-0.
Thank you very much to Luke. Let's bypass the Champions League games for a moment or so and go to the games that are approaching, if not actually at half-time at the moment. Let's go to the National League first of all. Eastleigh taking on Scunthorpe at the Silver Lake Stadium. Is it half-time and is it still even Steven, Adam Tilner?
Yes, we're half-time here. Very much even, Steven. It's not been that entertaining as I would have hoped for. Eastleigh are definitely a good side. Seem promising. They've been coming to the match as favourite, and we're trying to attack, get that goal, but most of it has come from nothing. To be fair, most of the shots that they have taken have been blocked, and not really any work for the keeper out there. And
next up,
for Scunthorpe has been trying to slow the game down every time they had the ball. Really patient passing, patient build-up, and it's been working for them quite a lot. Even though they've been the worst team here, they've made some chances for themselves. But same as on the other side, most of them have been blocked, and nothing has really happened out of that.
So half-time there in the game between Eastleigh and Scunthorpe, and it's currently 0-0. Okay, thanks to Adam. Then let's move on to the Southern League Premier Division South. Winchester City against Bracknell Town. Saj Rahman told us about 4 goals in the first half. It was end-to-end stuff. Half-time now, Saj?
It is indeed, Will. The teams go down the tunnel at half-time. It's 3-1 to Bracknell. A flurry of goals in the opening 15, 20 minutes. Bracknell took the lead in just 2 minutes in through Ferguson, and then it was a brilliant free kick from Bentley, who just clipped it into the top corner before Ferguson scored another, and Ferdinand grabbed the third as well. So it's 3-1 here. The goalkeeper came in, actually. I'm reliably informed that the goalkeeper coming in for Winchester turned 21 in the week. It looked like he might concede 21 in the first half, but the game did settle down, and now it's 3-1 as Winchester try and make their way back into it, slowly getting a foothold in the game, but not quite creating chances as of yet. So half-time, Winchester City 1, Bracknell 3.
Thank you very much to Saj. Okay, back with him, and hopefully, who knows, maybe some goals in the second half as well. Let's go down to League One then. Oxford United entertaining Fleetwood at the Kassam Stadium. We had an early goal in that game, in actual fact, but I don't think we had a huge amount after that, did we, Will Tyrrell?
No, we didn't, Will. The majority of the entertainment has come in the way of many fights breaking out across the pitch and in the technical area. There was one free kick from Cameron Brannigan. A lovely curled effort. Top corner was saved. Louis Moore would be proud of that one. But apart from that, there wasn't too much to report, I'm afraid. So half time is Fleetwood 1, Oxford United 0.
Thank you very much then to Will. Okay, let's find out what happened in that first half between Lincoln City and Accrington Stanley at the LNER Stadium. Charlie Parker watching this one for us.
Well, to be brutally honest, Will, nothing's happened. It's been a poor game. There's been a lack of movement from either side, especially in the final third. There's been a lack of flow. No one's really gone into the game. And there's maybe been one good chance which came late in the first half for Lincoln. It was a corner that went straight to the back post, just behind the back post, which O'Connor got his head to, but it went sailing just wide. There was a little off-the-ball fight at Lincoln. The ball has been knocked around in the middle of the park, and at the halfway line on the left-hand side, it was Ben House and Mitchell Clark who just got into it, and the rest of the team surrounded them. They both got a yellow card, and we had 4 minutes of extra time, which no one could get any shots on target. We've had 3 shots on target overall. It's still 0-0 here.
Thank you very much to Charlie. So fisticuffs, a few yellow cards, but no goals to report in the League One match between Lincoln and Accrington. In the Papa John's Trophy tonight, Portsmouth are entertaining AFC Wimbledon at Fratton Park. Half-time in that one, Jack Prescott.
Yeah, well, it's still 1-0 to Pompey. Not a lot really happened. The conditions are starting to play a part with the zip of the ball across the surface, a few misplaced passes. It's turned into a game of chess almost, one team waiting for the other to make a mistake. It's a stop-start game. Referee not letting anything go tonight. Has been 13 fouls in the first half. But yeah, nothing more to add. Pompey 1, Wimbledon 0.
Thank you very much to Jack. Also, half-time is the match between Preston and Swansea. Summarising that first 45 minutes for us at Deepdale, George Rees-Julian. Looks like we're having a moment or so problem contacting George. Not a problem at all. We'll move on to the match between Luton and Reading at Kenilworth Road. Cameron Anderson-Jones.
Yeah, the half is now over, and it's been a really nothing half. Both teams have rarely threatened on goal. Ajaria, for me, is the key player that hasn't really been at it for Reading. He's been playing in centre mid today next to Jeff Hendricks, but you can tell it's not really his natural position. Should be playing a bit higher up the pitch because they're really getting overrun in midfield, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was a change in the second half.
Thank you very much to Cameron. Let's keep our eye on that. We'll go back to George in a moment or so when he's back from the loo. There we go. He told me and I didn't know it. I didn't see it, rather. So there we go. Talking of loos, talking about things going down the toilet, the chances might be going down the toilet at Eintracht Frankfurt, because in the Champions League tonight, just before half-time in Group D, Sporting have the lead. Dylan Chavas.
Yeah, it's an absolutely massive goal for Sporting Lisbon, Will, and it's been scored by the right winger, Arthur Gomez, following an assist from Manuel Ugarte. It was a cross-in from the right-hand side, sorry, my bad. Crossed in, and it was a comfortable finish for Gomez, who tucks it past the keeper Kevin Trapp in the Frankfurt goal. And Frankfurt, like a fresh fillet of Portuguese bacalhau, sliced open on the counter by the Portuguese men. It's 40 minutes gone now. Sporting top of the group as it stands, which is a huge goal for them, and Frankfurt still in third. 40 minutes gone, 1-0 Sporting.
Lovely job. Love that analogy. And nothing like a nice piece of Atlantic fish, that is for sure. So Sporting will no doubt be hoping that it's them that are in the group, in the knockout stages, rather, after Christmas of the Champions League tonight. Okay, let's go back to the Championship in the 8 o'clock kickoffs. Bristol City and Sheffield United still trying to break each other down. Any hint of an opening goal in that particular match, Ollie Power?
Yeah, we're getting much closer now. Even the atmosphere has risen. It feels like most of the Southwest are at this game now. A few moments ago, Andreas Weimann, ex-Premier League striker, had a huge chance. He found himself free down the left, played a 1-2 with Wales, but just couldn't find a goal. And only moments after that, it was a long kick up from the Bristol keeper. Weimann flicked it on to teammate Naki Wells, and he was found offside. So 2 big chances for Bristol, just couldn't find a goal. Oh, just as you're with me as well, I think it's Cameron Pring from the defence has just hit the bar. Yeah, so sorry, 0-0 here, 43 minutes in.
0-0, 43 minutes in, but Bristol City almost taking the lead. Well, we said that we were going to get a half-time report from George Rees-Julian, and now we can do that. Preston against Swansea. Not the best first half at Deepdale, George, but which side do you think will be the happier with that first 45 minutes?
It's definitely the hosts, Preston, who'll be the happier in that first 45 minutes. Despite having much less of the ball than Swansea, Preston have looked the far more dangerous side out of the two. Every time they go forward, they actually look like they're going to create a chance. Swansea, quite laboured in possession. They're just passing the ball. Everything's coming through Matt Grimes, but they're not really playing it forward enough. And those Swansea City fans who have made the almost 9-hour round trip haven't had much to sing about so far in the first 45 minutes.
Thank you very much to George. Okay, let's go back to the Champions League then. Back to Group D, where Marseille are entertaining Spurs at the Stade Velodrome. There were incidents in terms of injuries, nothing in terms of goals in that first 45, or at least last we heard they hadn't. Any changes to that at all, Ben Hayward?
Yeah, it's like I say, it's been absolutely all Marseille here. If you looked at the table for the game, and if you were unaware of the table, sorry, and you're watching this match, you'd think Marseille were absolutely flying at the top. Here they are again on the break, ball swung in and it's headed clear. Tottenham are on the ropes here. I really like the look of Nuno Tavares and Jonathan Klaus at wing back. They're so threatening, constantly occupying the final third. And it's been all Marseille. Like I said, they've had 70% possession. Tottenham literally can't get out of their first third here. Hugo Lloris, probably the second best player on the pitch, apart from Nuno Tavares. He's been absolutely excellent on the left-hand side. He's managed to put off two absolute worldies, one coming from midfielder Jordan Veretout, again, a former Premier League player, former Aston Villa midfielder. He's really loving life in France at the moment, back in his home country. He's had a swing of a left boot at it, and he's pulled an absolute worldie out of the French number one, Hugo Lloris. But I know Antonio Conte's not pitch side at the moment, but his side will be absolutely itching to get into the dressing room. There's 7 minutes added on, by the way. It's just been put up by the fourth official due to the Heung-min Son injury. It's just a massive blow for Spurs, and they're absolutely all over the place, to be honest with you. You might have to come back to me because I've still got 6 minutes of added additional play. Still 0-0 here at the Stade Velodrome.
We will do indeed. We'll catch up with you in the half-time break. Thank you very much to Ben. We're talking of half-time breaks. Most of the Champions League games are approaching the half-time break, but there was still time for a goal to go in the match between Pilsen and Barcelona. Liam Jones.
Yeah, it's 2-0 Barca. And if I'm being honest, Victoria Pilsen have actually had the better of this game. When I spoke to you last, they hit the bar, seemed to rise the spirits of the crowd, the players. They had 3-4 really, really good chances, a couple one-on-ones. Thomas Chovy, the striker, the big 6'4" striker, he had a big header straight at the goalkeeper. And then a couple slips from Bellerin at right back, Jordi Alba at left back have let Pilsen get in. But yeah, no dice for Pilsen. Still, they didn't score. And then Barca down the other end. Big long ball over the top by Rafinha. Chips it over the back line. That's where they've been threatening on that left-hand side with a bit of pace. Jordi Alba gets in behind. He headed it into the box, and there was Ferran Torres for a tap-in. They did VAR check it for an offside, but there was goals given.
Well, Ben, thank you very much to Liam. Ben told us that we should go back to him because he thought that there might be a bit of drama in the closing stages of the first half of the Group D game between Spurs and Marseille in the south of France, and there has been drama there.
Will, I can literally not hear myself think here at Stade Velodrome, and it's Chancellor Mbemba with an absolute rocket header. I told you I'd give me 60 seconds and you'll be back. It's a short corner, played into the man who I've just mentioned, Jordan Veretout. It's a short corner. He's then, it's so easy though. Nobody's tracking Jordan Veretout. It's a little in-swinger, in towards the back post, and number 99, a little bit ambitious from Chancellor Mbemba, but he slams it down into the ground, into the front post. And I'll tell you what, it is absolutely limbs here at Stade Velodrome. Nothing that Marseille don't deserve. 70% of the ball. They've had a plethora of attempts on goal. 1-0 Marseille going into half-time, I believe.
Thank you very much to Ben. So Spurs on the ropes somewhat in the south of France. Marseille know that if they win, they go through. Spurs also know that if they win, they go through. It's all to play for. Elsewhere in Group D, Sporting against Eintracht Frankfurt. Last we heard from Dylan Chavas, it was 1-0 to the hosts. Are you at half-time yet, Dylan, or are you nearly at half-time? What's the state of play?
Yeah, the halftime whistle has just gone here at the Estadio Jose Alvalade, and it's still 1-0 to Sporting Lisbon, which, with that result, puts them top of the group in obviously this last vital match day in Group D. It was a goal from Arthur Gomez. As I said, Frankfurt sliced open on the counter like that fresh fillet of Atlantic fish. But really, it's a game with more bookings and shots on target so far. So that tells you all you need to know about the sort of general atmosphere and quality of the game. It's lacked a few moments of quality. I actually saw a PS5 advertisement that said play means more, but clearly the play here has just been in between the boxes, really. It's been sort of a bit stuffy, but Sporting have that all-important goal and lead going into the second half. Half-time here at the Estadio Jose Alvalade. It's Sporting 1, Frankfurt 0.
Thank you very much to Dylan. It's half-time at Anfield. Liverpool entertaining Napoli. Louis Moore, what do you make of the first 45?
45's been solid for both sides. Started off slow the game with a couple of chances here and there, but started to really speed up in the second half of the first half. Napoli with a nice move down the left-hand side with a shot that went straight to Alisson from Osimhen. And then after that, Alisson, very similar to the goal that they scored recently against Man City, just boosted it down the field, which Salah got on the end of, pulled it back to Thiago, who had a nice shot and pulled a save off from Merritt. Just after that, Milner went down holding his head after a clash of heads with Anguissa. He had to go off with a head injury, but came back on soon after. And then Mohamed Salah had a massive chance towards the end of the first half. The ball was slipped through to him by Curtis Jones, and you would have bet your house that he would score, but maybe not this season, as he's put it wide. It's half-time and it's 0-0.
Thank you very much, Louis. You can bet your house, although maybe not this season. There's a line to take you to the second half of the season. Perhaps, maybe you bet your house and Salah score more goals. Who knows? But it's not for him or Liverpool yet tonight. Also in that same group, well, it's been a pretty dreadful night for Rangers so far, hasn't it? They've been puffing and panting, but struggling somewhat home against Ajax. James Humphreys, does that sum up the first half?
Yeah, it totally does. The half-time whistle's just gone here at the Ibrox, and to be honest, it's been all Ajax. Steven Bergwijn's influence has been growing throughout the half. I've really noticed the freedom he's been allowed when Ajax come forward. He kind of comes in off the left into the half spaces, and he's really operating well in them areas, picking up the ball, and he's at the heart of everything good that comes from the away side. Earlier on in the half, he got also spun in behind a couple of times, and he was actually through on goal at one stage, but his shot was saved well by Alan McGregor in the Rangers goal. The only other thing of note is that Ajax were actually forced into a change as their left back Winjal made way following a collision with the advertisement boards. It looks as if he was pushed by a Rangers player at a corner, and he was unable to continue with Wrench stripped and ready to come on.
Thank you very much to James. So half-time in that match between Rangers and Ajax. 7:45 kickoffs are back underway, so we'll be racing around those grounds in a moment or so to find out how the opening few minutes of those respective games have been getting on. But let's just find out from Barnaby, first of all, how things went in that first half between Bayern and Inter. He's watching that Group C match at the Allianz Arena. Barnaby.
Yeah, thanks, Will. It's half-time here in Munich, and it's 1-0 to Bayern with a goal from Benjamin Pavard from that free header at the corner. 25 minutes into the game, though, Inter did have a major opportunity of their own from a chance from Lautaro Martinez, a brilliant ball across the box from Robin Gerson, and it seemed to have maybe bubbled up right before the Argentine could hit it, and it went sailing over. But other than that, Bayern have been dominating. Their pressing is causing so many issues for Inter, and as a result, they're dominating this game. So 1-0 here in Germany, Will.
Thank you very much to Barnaby. Okay, back to the 7:45 kickoffs then that are back underway and up and running for the second half. Let's go to the National League first of all. Eastleigh entertaining Scunthorpe at the Silver Lake Stadium. Watching for us, Adam Tilner. Adam, how have the first couple of minutes of the second half gone?
Well, it seems the visitors have felt the weakness from the first half on the Eastleigh side and have decided that they can get something from the game, and they've been trying to capitalize on that. They came out the gates rushing ahead, which Chelmsford had an early chance. Scunthorpe have been having the majority of possession so far. Eastleigh have a chance here, but it's blocked and still going on. A header, but the goalkeeper has it, so it comes nothing of it. But yeah, as I've been saying, Scunthorpe has really been doing great in the second half so far. J-Ro got through the defence and got blocked for a corner, from which Jacob Butterfield put the ball in, and Andrew Boyce jumped very high above the rest of the defenders and had a bullet header just above the crossbar. It was really close. And then again, in the 51st minute, Joe Nuttall on the counter-attack managed to get through the defense and run into a good position and took a hard shot, but which was deflected by the keeper and it fell to the defender. So it's still 55th minute, 0-0, but play action.
Certainly sounds as though Adam has got a bit of action to look at in that second half, 0-0 as we speak. We'll be going to the Southern League Premier Division South in a moment or so, but I believe there's a very happy reporter at the match between Oxford and Fleetwood at the Kassam Stadium. Last we heard, it was 1-0 at half-time to the visitors, Fleetwood, but there's been another goal, Will Tyrrell.
There has been, yeah. Gatland Odonka, the young 18-year-old, he only turned 18 2 weeks ago. He made 2 back-to-back starts in the last 2 games following Matty Taylor's 3-match suspension. And he's come on at half-time for Marcus Brown up front. Last time out against Pompey, he was amazing at setting the trap for the early press for United. But this goal has come from a corner, very scruffy goal. The ball's come in from the left corner post. He's won the first flick. It's gone down, up, hit the crossbar, come back, absolute melee in the area. And he's managed to get a touch to stab it home for his first, it'll be his first senior goal for the club he grew up supporting. Completely unbiased celebration for myself, as you can probably tell. And then a few seconds ago, Brannigan hit the post from a slide rule pass into him with his left foot. But 52 minutes in, and it's 1-1 here.
Doesn't matter if they're scrappy, of course, Will. A goal's a goal, and you can almost see the smile on his face as that one goes in. Thank you very much there. 1-1 then in Sky Bet League One action tonight. There's also been another goal in the Papa John's Trophy match between Pompey and AFC Wimbledon at Fratton Park. Which way has it gone? Jack Pescott.
It's an equaliser for Wimbledon, Will. A long ball from the goalkeeper. The conditions played a part as Freeman actually slips and face plants, and Ayub Asal runs on from the left. He's cutting on his right foot and hit an absolute peach into the top right corner, leaving Oluwumi with no chance. 51 gone here. It's 1-1.
Thank you very much to Jack. We'll be catching up with Charlie and find out what's been going on between Lincoln and Accrington in League One in a moment or so. But back to the Southern League Premier Division South. Winchester City hosting Bracknell Town tonight at the Simply Health City Ground. There were 4 goals in the first half. Any hint of any goals in the second half so far, Sarge?
Can you believe it, Will? We've gone 30 minutes without a goal here. I'm getting rather cold out here without any goals. It's a very cold night. The goals were warming me up, but it is still 3-1 here. The half's been underway for about 5 minutes now. Bracknell thought they had the penalty just over the far side. Edge of a box, it was actually a free kick. Nothing came of it. But I wonder whether the Winchester manager is regretting not having one of their top players this season, Daniel Nield, on the bench today. He's made 4 shots as Bracknell were in behind me. Rounds the goalkeeper. Charlie Bill got them brilliantly to get a hand to it. Still a chance though. It's fallen to Ferguson. He's still got it. It's bounced away. No, just the goalmouth scrambled there as I was speaking. But yeah, Daniel Nield isn't even in the squad despite starting 4 games and getting 4 goals and assists in that time. They haven't got that option. So I wonder whether the Winchester manager's regretting that decision as of right now. But still, here, Winchester 1, Bracknell Town 3.
Thank you very much, Sarge. Almost a goal as it went on here on Solent Sports News Live this evening. Okay, let's go back to League One then. Lincoln City against Accrington Stanley. Early stage of the second half. Anything to write home about, Charlie Parker?
Well, Will, this might be the most confusing game of all time. At halftime, there was 0 substitutions from either side, despite the poor first half. And then Lincoln get a free kick deep into enemy territory, which Mitch Clark from Accrington Stanley just clears away to waste time. Mitch Clark then goes down, pretending to be injured, changes his boots, and then the substituted keeper, Jordan Wright, goes down himself with a bit of cramp. And they've wasted about 6 minutes here. We're now at the 53rd minute, and it's still 0-0 with nothing really happening.
Fun and games there for Charlie to keep his eye on between Lincoln and Accrington Stanley tonight. Oh, I don't know. All sorts of fun and games in Sky Bet League One this evening. Let's go back to the Championship then. Let's catch up with George Rees-Julian, who's watching Preston against Swansea. How have the opening exchanges in the second half at Deepdale gone, George?
Well, you join me, Will. Just moments after Swansea have made a double change. They've attempted to change this game around. They've brought off Carl Norton. They've brought on Armstrong Okaflex, who's on loan from West Ham. He's an attacking player, but perhaps Russell Martin's going to play him as a wing-back. He's played there before. We'll have to wait and see where he sets up. And Olivier Ntcham has also come off. He was a threat for Swansea early, but he's faded as the game's gone on. And Jamie Patterson, has come on for the Swans. But this game is just following the same pattern. I'm starting to sound like a broken record. Swansea having all of the ball, Preston having all of the chances. Ched Evans with the only chance in the second half. He headed a Brad Potts cross from the right, well wide of the post. I'm starting to think there's not going to be many more goals in this game, Will. Still 1-0.
Thank you very much to George as he approaches the hour mark in that match at 1-0 to Preston. Okay, let's jump across to the Coventry Building Society Arena. Kit McIntosh is keeping an eye on Coventry against Blackburn. How have the first 10-12 minutes of the second half gone, Kit?
Well, the start of this first half has brought a lot of the intensity that we've seen towards the end of the first half. Blackburn actually here have a free kick in a dangerous area outside of the Coventry box. Oh, and it's a good save. Brereton Diaz straight through the wall, parried away by Ben Wilson. But, Blackburn clearly determined to get back into this game after going 1-0 down to a relegation battle inside in Coventry. They made the first change of the game, bringing on George Hurst for Jack Vale. And frustration seeming to set in after Tyler Morton with a vicious challenge on, I forget who it was, Gustavo Hamer. But other than that, nothing in the way of goals again so far. Early on in this first half, we might have to wait again another 40 minutes. After 57 minutes, 1-0 Coventry.
Thank you very much to Kit. So 6 games in the Championship tonight so far. Only 3 goals. Kit was telling us about one there. Coventry against Blackburn. Coventry 1, Blackburn 0. It's also Hull 0, Middlesbrough 1. That's a 7:45 kickoff. The 2 half-time games. The 1 half-time game so far in terms of the 8 o'clock kickoff. West Brom against Blackpool is a half-time match. Incidentally, in terms of the standings for the Championship, if it stays the way that it is, that Sheffield United will move up to 3rd. Blackburn will stay in 2nd if they end up losing that particular match. Swansea also, of course, against Preston. They would stay in 6th. Preston would move up to 7th. And then further down, it'd be pretty much as you were for some of the mid-table sides. Okay, let's pop in and find out what's been going on between Luton and Reading at Kenilworth Road. Watching this particular match, Cameron Anderson-Jones.
Literally nothing has happened. I'm glad that George and Kit have got a goal because I haven't. And I'm starting to think that I'm not going to get one out the whole 90 minutes here. Funnily enough, Reading have failed to score at Kenilworth Road ever since they won 5-0 in 2019. So it's no surprise that they haven't scored tonight. Their best chance of the game did come to Andy Carroll as he connected with a header, but just wide of the post. When does he not connect with a header? I'm not too sure. Luton may look to the bench soon. They've got Carlton Morris, their top goal scorer, with 8 goals so far this season on there. It would be no surprise to see him enter the field very soon. 0-0, 55 gone.
Thank you very much to Cameron. Okay, let's go back to the Champions League games then, because I believe 1 or 2 of them are starting again, back underway at Anfield in particular. Louis Moore watching Liverpool against Napoli. Louis.
Well, we're both on 2 minutes into the second half, and James Milner's gone down. It looks like he's going to have to come off, and it looks like Harvey Elliott's going to come on. He went down holding his head earlier in the game, but it's nothing to do with that this time. He's gone to stop a pass and planted his foot awkwardly, very awkwardly, and his knees come over the top. You can see on his face, he's wincing as soon as he does it. The physios are over to him now. 47 minutes played, 0-0, but James Milner is going to have to come off here.
Thank you very much, Louis. Let's go straight to League One, where Lincoln have got a penalty against Accrington. Charlie Parker.
Well, it's already kicking off now. Jack Diamond has found himself through on goal. and Farme's just come up already on a yellow card and just taken him out completely. It's kind of shocking he's still on the pitch. And a couple of Accrington players, to go with the theme of the game, are scruffing up the penalty spot as we wait for everyone to clear it out. We're waiting for, I think it's Sorensen to take the penalty. He's just taking his sweet time like the rest of the game. We're time wasting. And he runs up to the penalty box. He goes right and it's in. Keeper goes the wrong way. It's 1-0 Lincoln, 59 minutes in.
There you are, goals as they go in here on Solent Sports News Midweek Live. Lincoln 1, Accrington 0 at the LNER Stadium, courtesy of Charlie Parker. Okay, thanks very much. Let's go back to the games in the Champions League then. The second half's kicking off. Let's go first of all to Ben Hayward, where Spurs have got it all to do in the second half in their match at the Stade Velodrome against Marseille, Ben.
Yeah, absolutely, Will. We're moments away, to be honest with you, of kicking off the second half. I can't exaggerate how poor Spurs have been. Antonio Conte is absolutely fuming. I can actually see him over to the corner of the stadium, and he's absolutely livid in his face. But I wanted to highlight Jordan Veretout performance as he got the assist for the goal. He's had a 92% pass accuracy. He's had 3 key passes, 3 crosses completed, and of course, he got the assist for the goal for Chancellor Mbemba. He was linked with Spurs actually in the summer after he left Roma, but he opted to move to France. Obviously, his home country, and it's worked an absolute treat for him this season. He's been an absolute dynamite in midfield for Marseille, and tonight he's shown why again. Him, Rongier, and the 2 wing backs, as I mentioned earlier, Tavares and Jonathan Klaus, they're just causing absolute havoc, pinning back. They're just pinning back both wing backs in Ryan Sessegnon and Ivan Perisic. Wouldn't surprise me if Spurs make a few changes going into the second half because they've been absolutely lifeless. But yeah, I didn't mention that Harry Kane had a decent chance in the latter stages of the first half, which forced a good save from Spanish goalkeeper Paul Lopez. But yeah, it's Spurs work to do, and at this stage, they look like they are going to be sent out of the Champions League.
Well, they've got it all to do, that is for sure, trailing Marseille by 1-0. Talking of goals, there's been a goal in the Championship in the early stages of the second half in the match between Bristol City and Sheffield United at Ashton Gate. Which way has it gone, Ollie?
Yeah, finally, it's the Blades who have made the cutting edge, and it's Njai up top getting his 8th of the season. It was a cross in from, I believe it was Fleck, whipped it into the box. The Bristol centre-backs, I think it was Tanner, just completely messed up, headed it back towards his own net. But his keeper wasn't there to save him. Instead, it was the striker lurking, and he just headed it into an open net. Superb poacher's effort. 1-0 Sheffield United here.
Thank you very much to Ollie. So the Blades have the lead. In fact, there's goals and opportunities going in all over the place. Let's go to Liam Jones because there's a penalty in the game between Pilsen and Barcelona, Liam.
Yeah, that's right, Will. And it was the youngster Pablo Torcaral for Barcelona. He clumsily took out Thomas Chori up front for Pilsen. It was like a big lofted free kick into the box. A bit the bane of Barcelona's night. I know they're leading 2-0. But it's been a really struggle dealing with these large Pilsen defenders. It is going to be Thomas Chori to step up and take it. The penalty check is complete. It's been given, I believe. Anyway, we're waiting on the spot. They're doing a penalty check as he stood over the ball. So he stood waiting to take the penalty. The keeper's not on his line yet. I don't really know what's going on. I don't know if it's a bit different in Czech Republic with the VAR checks and everything. But no, the ref is telling him to pick the ball up and take it away from the penalty spot now. I'm not really sure what's going on. But yeah, no changes at halftime for either team. It will just be interesting to see. Obviously, we know both teams where they stand in the groups. But I think Pilsen are going to come out. They've got 45 minutes. It's going to be a massive, massive 45 minutes for them, having Barcelona in their home stadium. And I would come back to me because there's going to be a bit of a wait, I think, for this penalty.
Okay, we will do exactly that. Talking of penalties, just to clarify, in the game between Lincoln and Accrington Stanley, it was Jack Diamond who scored the penalty that put Lincoln ahead. Okay, there's been a goal in the National League between Eastleigh and Scunthorpe. Watching for us at the Silver Lake Stadium is Adam Tilner. Which way has it gone, Adam?
Well, it's a goal for Eastleigh. Finally, a goal here at the Silver Lake Stadium. Actually, it's been a substitute who opened the scoring. Vincent Harper has come on in the 67th minute for former Southampton player Jake Hesketh. And immediately, 1 minute after that, Vincent Harper got the ball on the left wing and was one-on-one with a defender. A quick left-right as he went right and shot the ball brilliantly at the far post. Goalkeeper had no chance with a powerful shot there. And it's a wonderful goal after 1 minute on the pitch for Vincent Harper. 1-0, 17th minute. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adam. So Eastleigh leading Scunthorpe in the National League tonight by a goal to nil, 20 minutes to go. Let's go back to Liam. Was that penalty taken? Was it scored? What is the score in the game between Pilsen and Barca?
Yeah, so it's 2-1 now. Pilsen did score the penalty. Thomas Shorey step up, converted it, and the fans went absolutely crazy. They're still losing the game, but they don't care. They're loving it. They've got Barcelona in their home stadium. Why not? Just enjoy it. Night of football under the lights. 52 minutes on the clock. 2-1.
Thank you very much indeed. If you can't enjoy Champions League matches, irrespective of what you're doing, you can't enjoy anything. Talking of enjoying Champions League games, we know that Liverpool and Napoli are already through. They're playing each other at Anfield tonight. There's been a goal in that game, Louis Moore.
So, visitors, it's who take the lead here, and it's a goal from centre half Oster. Massive step up. He was at Coventry last year, and now he's playing under at Anfield. Ball in from Kvaratskhelia, who put the ball in from the wide left hand. The free kick was whipped it in. Oscar between his defenders, headed it in. East Alex was nearly point blank. VAR are just checking offside. It's going to be, but it might stand. I'm not too sure. It's a very close call. Come back to me in seconds. Here.
Thank you very much to Louis. We were just losing a little bit of what Louis was saying there, but the goal has gone the way of Napoli. Okay, there's been another goal, I believe, in the game between Pilsen and Barcelona. It was 2-1 or 1-2 last time we heard. Now what's the score, Liam?
It's 3-1 to Barca. Poor Pilsen. They haven't had time to celebrate. It's Ferran Torres again, down the right side, Rafinha. Torres has the ball, jinks through a bit of run, feeds it to Rafinha, cuts it back into the box. Ferran Torres plays it into the bottom corner. 3-1 Barca, 2-goal daylight. It's going to be a long way back for Pilsen, but we'll see what happens. They might be opening up the game a bit now. We'll have to wait and see.
We will indeed see two former Premier League players in Torres and Rafinha combining to score Barcelona's 3. So it's Pilsen 1, Barca 3 in that match in Group C. Let's incidentally go back to also in Group C, where Bayern are taking on Inter. I believe there was goals, and then there weren't goals, and then there was goals, and then there weren't goals. Barnaby Page, what on earth is happening in that second half?
Yeah, cheers, Will. 51 minutes into the game here in Munich, and Inter have started the second half the better of the two sides here. They had a free kick, roughly around 30 yards out. Ball whipped in. I couldn't see who scored the goal. It was I think it was De Vrij, but instantly the linesman put up his flag. VAR was happy with it, and the game has continued. Inter are still dominating. There was a substitution at halftime, though. Alphonso Davies coming on for Deo Upamecano.
Thank you very much. So 1-0 there. Sorry, 0-0. I beg your pardon. I'm losing track now of what's going on. The goal's been ruled out. Goals going in. Of course, it's 1-0 to Bayern Munich, not 1-1. With 10 minutes or so gone in that second half. So just to recap, in the Champions League group games, it's Marseille 1, Spurs 0. They are a few minutes behind everyone else because they had a lot of injury time at the end of the first half. So they've only played 5 minutes the second half as opposed to 10 or 12 minutes like the rest of the teams. It's Liverpool 0, Napoli 0, Bayern 1, Inter 0. It's Pilsen 1, Barcelona 3. Rangers 0, Ajax 2, and Sporting 1, Frankfurt 0. That goal that wasn't a goal, or was a goal, if we like, in the Liverpool-Napoli game has been ruled out. In fact, let's get details of that from Louis Moore. Louis.
Well, it was a goal. It wasn't a goal. It was a goal. It wasn't a goal. It took about 4 minutes for them to finally make their decision. Jurgen Klopp spent most of the time with his mouth open. Østegård was stood there praying. It would have been his second goal in 2 games in the Champions League. He scored in his Champions League debut against Rangers last time, but it was ruled out for offside. A very tight call. Osimhen was kind of blocking the view of the VAR officials, but in the end, they've gone for the offside. I think it was just his forward right foot that was playing him off. It's a decision that could have gone both ways. We've seen it go both ways, but it's now 57 minutes, goal disallowed, and it's now 0-0.
Thank you very much to Louis. So that just about clears it up. Thank you very much to him. The other game in that same group, incidentally, Rangers against Ajax. Last we heard it was 2-0 to Ajax. Any additions to that scoreline at all, James Humphreys?
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that. Well, it looks like Ajax have just extended their lead to make it 3-0. A brilliant run down the left by substitute Wrench. And he finds Kudos in the middle again, who looks to have put the ball away. However, we are going to a VAR review, and it looks as if it is offside, actually. So the score does remain 2-0 to Ajax here, 56 minutes played. We've also had a substitution as Davy Clarkson has come on for the first goal scorer, Berghaus. Perhaps the manager has in mind that they want to protect this lead now, but as it stands, it's all still very much Ajax.
Thank you very much, James. So plenty of goals being scored and being ruled out in the Champions League tonight. Fun and games. There you are. Don't you just love it, eh? Don't you just love it? Talking of loving it, we love the Championship. So it's time that we checked in with our reporters in the Championship as well. Back to what's going on there. Back to George Rees-Julian. Preston against Swansea at Deepdale. Surely there's something to tell us about, George.
Well, you talk about loving the Championship, but I'm not loving it right now. There's really nothing happening in this game. Last time I spoke to you, I said that Flex had come on and that he was quite an impactful player when he does come off the bench. And he burst on the left-hand side, and he did win Swansea a corner, which led to Jay Fulton having a chance. But other than that, as you come to me, actually, Swansea have just flicked it on Harry Darling, who made the error that led to the first goal, heads it straight into the hands of the former Swansea goalkeeper, Freddie Woodman. And to be honest, Freddie Woodman hasn't really been tested in this game. He's kept 10 clean sheets so far this season, and I think, to be honest, he might be about to get his 11th one of the season. It's still 1-0 to Preston, just a little over 15 minutes of regular time to go.
Thank you very much, George. He needs a goal. Pray for a goal for George. Pray for some action. Talking of action, I believe there's been a bit of action in the game between Coventry and Blackburn at the Coventry Building Society Arena. Substitutions, injuries, all sorts of fun and games. Kit McIntosh.
Yes, well, there's been an injury substitution here for Coventry. Hamer, who was earlier pushed down to the floor by Tyler Morton and was walked off to the sideline then early on in the second half, has just been fouled again, this time unable to continue playing. He's been replaced by Casey Palmer. But again, as for chances, biggest chance of the second half, I would say, so far, again coming for Coventry, following a Blackburn free kick. It was Gyökeres who was just pacing down the field, played a ball, squared it to the goal scorer, actually. That was Jamie Allen, sorry. And Jamie Allen just was so unfortunate not to score. Kaminski, the Belgian, with an absolutely fantastic save. Here after 74 minutes, it remains 1-0 to Coventry.
Thank you very much to Kit. So it looks as though unless Blackburn can turn things around, that the 3 points, the much needed 3 points for Coventry at the bottom of the Championship table, might be staying at home. Big goal in the Champions League tonight. Marseille were beating Spurs in a match that both teams need to win to get to the knockout stages of the tournament. And there's been another goal at the Stade Velodrome. Which way has it gone, Ben Hayward?
It has gone to the visitors, Tottenham. It's battle of the bullet headers here at Stade Velodrome. And it's Clement Longley who's came in for Sergio Romero at centre-half. It's an unbelievably good ball in by Ivan Perisic. Very unorthodox player, Ivan Perisic, because he takes both set pieces off both feet. You don't really see that every day. But Harry Kane wins the free kick towards the left-hand side of the box, probably about 30 yards out towards the left. And Ivan Perisic is a bit. You expect him for it to be an in-swinger, but he's actually took it with his left foot as an out-swinger, and it's an absolutely delightful ball for Longley to go and attack. And it's a similar header to when Ben was in the first half. As I say that, Lucas Moura's in, and he's dragged it wide. I'll tell you what, I don't know what's been said to Spurs at half-time, but they're pulling out the stops at the moment, 10 minutes into the second half. 1-1, and as it stands, Tottenham go through. So it's all to play for here in Group D.
Certainly is. What drama. Well, Spurs never really got going in their last game last weekend of the Champions League, last midweek, of course, against Sporting. Whatever was said at half-time that night looks as though the message has been repeated tonight as well. 1-1 in that match. Okay, back to the Championship then. Luton against Reading at Kenilworth Road. Cameron Anderson-Jones.
Nothing really to note here. It's a game between two toothless tigers. I'm glad to see that Paul Ince agreed with me at half-time, because Ajaria quickly got off the pitch and Forna came on. A roll of the dice by Luton as well, as Cameron Jerome came on for centre-back Lockyer. So there's two of them up front now, Adebayo and Jerome. But I'm still shocked to see no Carlton Morris at this point. I'm not too sure if he's nursing an injury or anything, but it's a big surprise to see their top goal scorer still not on the pitch with just 18 minutes to go.
Thank you very much to Cam. Let's check in with Ollie, find out what's going on between Bristol City and Sheffield United at Ashton Gate. Last we heard, the Blades were ahead. Is that still the case, Ollie?
Sorry, Will. In the county known for its cider, it's not been so sweet here tonight for Bristol. Still 1-0 to the Blades, although ever since they've had some huge chances. Alex Scott has been arguably man of the match for me for Bristol. He's been excellent. He just almost in a wizard-like grace, just chopped through so many defenders from the right-hand side and made a shot out for himself, but narrowly wide. And before that, Naki Wells had a sitter. Not the sort of chance you'd expect someone who's on 7 goals this season in the Championship already to miss. But yeah, they're getting closer. It's definitely a better game, way better game now, but they're just still looking for that equaliser. But despite, them getting back in it, Sheffield aren't out of this. Sheffield are still creating chances of their own. Billy Sharp's just coming off now for McBurney, actually. Their joint top scorer. Sheffield United's joint top scorer here, Ollie McBurney, coming on now, and it's 1-0 Sheffield United, 65 minutes gone.
Thank you very much to Ollie. We'll go back to Luke Hell and find out what's going on at West Brom Blackpool in a moment or so, but there's been goals and all sorts of fun and games going on in the Champions League in the big match in Group D. There's a penalty. Which way is it gone, and has it been scored? Dylan Chavas.
Yeah, it's a penalty to Eintracht Frankfurt, and it's just been confidently dispatched by Japanese midfielder Daichi Kamada, who's proven to be the samurai against Sporting Lisbon's Lions tonight. It's a great penalty. Sends keeper Antonio Adan the wrong way. It's gone into the top right-hand corner, and it's 1-1 with 63 minutes on the clock. Obviously, Frankfurt looking for back-to-back wins in the Champions League for the first time since 1959-60 season. And if they can get another goal, they'll be looking good for that win. And it's Kamada's 12th of the season has leveled the scores here in Lisbon. So 63 minutes gone, and it's now 1-1. Big goal in Group D. Back to the studio.
It is a big goal indeed. And of course, if it stays like that, then Spurs will go through as the team top of the table. That's how they started the evening. But both matches in Group D, 1-1 as we speak. Let's go back to Liam Jones because, he's had all the goals in the Champions League this evening, it seems. First of all, Pilsen were down against Barcelona. Then they were drawing a little bit closer. And I think they might have drawn even closer still, Liam.
Yeah, it's for such a nothing game, they're really going all out. Barcelona and Pilsen, they're going back in the midfield battle is crazy. They're going slide tackles going in, then it's back to Pilsen, then it's Barca on the counter attack. Have Bellerin going through 1-on-1. It's now 3-2. Pilsen's I said earlier he's 6'4". He's actually 6'5". He's an absolute giant. Their main striker, Thomas Chori, free as a bird in the box. Unmarked, Alex Balde has come on for Barcelona to replace Jordi Alba, and he left this big brute up front. Free header in the box, bottom corner, and they almost, just as you came to me, almost equalised, made it 3-3, just skimmed it wide of Peña's goal. But it's all going off here. The Pilsen fans are going crazy. The players are up for it. It's going to be an entertaining last half an hour.
I certainly hope so. Pilsen 2, Barcelona 3 then as we speak in the Champions League tonight. Okay, back to the Championship. As promised, West Brom against Blackpool at the Hawthorns. Luke Hale, how do you summarise what you've seen so far in the second half?
It's been a lot better in the second half, thanks, Will. West Brom are pumping on the pressure now. They've had a couple of chances. They've not been able to challenge the keeper too much, but just now, the best chance of the game came after John Swift made it through the Blackpool defence, twisting away, but his shot went straight at the keeper again. It's not been
on here. West Brom 0, Blackpool 0.
Thank you very much to Luke. So no goals for him to report on as of yet. Okay, let's go back to the National League then. Eastleigh against Scunthorpe. Last time we caught up with Adam Tilner at Silver Lake Stadium, Eastleigh had taken the lead with 20 minutes or so to go. I imagine there's around about 10 minutes to go now. Is there, Adam? And what's the score?
Yes, we're currently in the 86th minute, still 1-0 for Eastleigh. Scunthorpe have been trying to get the game equal, while Eastleigh have been doing their best to slow the game down and protect their lead. There's been a bunch of cheeky fouls from Eastleigh. Charlie Carter got a yellow card for holding the opposition player. And just a minute ago, the referee missed a tackle, which seemed like Scunthorpe's player actually was taken out in the penalty box, but the referee was already not looking as the ball was going out of play, and Scunthorpe players were asking for a penalty, but as the referee didn't see it, he couldn't give it. But certainly you can see a bit of frustration on the Scunthorpe players as Eastleigh are doing their best to protect that lead, but it's about 4 minutes to go, so the 90th minute, still 1-0 for Eastleigh.
Thank you very much to Adam. So the Spitfires look as though they're going to claim all 3 points. Let's go down to the Southern League Premier Division South. Winchester City against Bracknell Town. Plenty of goals, plenty of action in the first half. Less so in the second half, but how do you summarise what you've seen so far, Sarge?
Yeah, no, honestly, Will, this has been an absolute ball fest of the second half. Bracknell just dominating possession, playing it around the back, trying to see off this game, as it's just kind of been Route 1 football from Winchester, no build-up play whatsoever. They're just trying to lump it up top to the big striker that's come on, Silvano Abeng. He scored 6 goals this season so far. So can he get another one? He had a decent shot that was straight into the hands of Rob Eacott, the goalkeeper. But Bracknell are really just seeing this game out. And it's still Winchester 1, Bracknell 3.
Thank you very much to Sarge. Any more goals and we will be right back there. Back to Sky Bet League One then. Oxford United against Fleetwood Town. Last we heard from Will Tyrrell at the Kassam Stadium, it was 1-1. Is that still very much the case, Will?
It is indeed. I'm not sure what just happened just now, but there was a massive melee, and honestly, I don't know what's happened there, but it's been quite an interesting game. What I would say is that Lewis Spade, the 19-year-old on loan from Leeds, has put on an absolute masterclass in midfield along with Marcus McGuire, and they're showing now how you can play as a two in midfield. He's only 19. He's very short, technician with his left foot. Reminds me of a young James Humphreys, but he's very, very good in the ball. And some of the interchange has been really, really nice to watch. But again, it's kind of gone back to the scrappiness. There's been a lot of little fouls and a lot of pushing and shoving and yellow cards here, there, and everywhere. I don't remember the last time I've seen a match quite like this, but 5 minutes left to play, still 1-1, and I can see one team getting a winner. Again, there's all sorts of players flying to the ground, shoving into, even if someone's even bumping into the ref. It's absolute melee. But yeah, I'll keep you updated with 5 minutes left.
Thank you very much, Will. Yeah, I've heard that James Humphreys is a decent player, or at least he was back in the day. Who knows what his state of play is these days. Okay, talking of state of play, let's find out whether or not there's been any additional goals in the game between Lincoln and Accrington. Lincoln did have the lead last we heard. Is that still the case, Charlie?
No goals, but it's been all Lincoln so far, and we may have found the diamond in the rough to light up this game because Jack Diamond has been on fire since he came out of the second half. He picked up the ball in the midfield, ran at the Accrington defence, found himself in the box surrounded by 3 Accrington defenders. It pinballed off all 4 of them, found back into Jack's legs, who shot it straight at the keeper. And the keeper has no idea. He saved it. He's confused, and it's gone out for a corner. And then later on, Jack Diamond is running at the Accrington defence again, plays Jamie Robson in on the left, who shoots it, but it goes just wide into the side netting. 84 minutes played here, still 1-0 Lincoln.
Thank you very much, Charlie. We'll be off to Fratton Park and hear from Jack in a moment or so. But I believe there was a goal, then there wasn't a goal, then there was, then there wasn't. Have Spurs taken the lead away at Marseille in the Champions League, Ben, or have they not?
They haven't, but we've had plenty of them tonight, haven't we, Will? It was a tight call, but Harry Kane, he needs to be honest, a little bit more. It's really good play, actually, from the substitute, Samuel Gijot, the centre-half. He's just stepped up just in time to play Harry Kane offside. He's tight, don't get me wrong. The linesman, obviously, he's fit the protocol and he's allowed Kane to run on goal. It's a brilliant finish. It's a trademark Harry Kane finish into the bottom left. But no, the offside trap from the French centre-half Gijot has been excellent. Just then, Lucas Moura was sliding behind, but it was well defended again by Marseille. But yeah, it's a bit of a ping-pong game, to be honest, at the moment. Other side not really dictating the tempo. But yeah, don't scratch your eyes because I think there's another goal in this, to be honest, Will. 1-1 still here at the Stade Velodrome.
Thank you very much, Ben. Well, he told us not to go too far from him at the end of the first half, and sure enough, there was a goal. So no doubt there might be more action to come in a moment or so. Let's go back to Charlie Parker, because I believe that Accrington have got an equaliser away at Lincoln, Charlie.
Yeah, it's been all Lincoln so far, but Accrington get one opportunity. Mitch Clark finds himself open on the right-hand side of the field, crosses it in, and Harvey Rogers just finds himself wide open, who heads it downwards, and the keeper and the defenders are stood still in shock. They can't quite believe what happened. 86 minutes gone here, 1-1.
Thank you very much, Charlie. Okay, we are going to be hearing from Jack at Fratton Park in a moment or so, but there's been a red card in the match between Coventry and Blackburn in the Championship. Must be closing stages, Kit McIntosh.
Yeah, there's been a red card for Blackburn. Blackburn already on the back foot, down 1-0, entering the final 5 minutes of the game. A few minutes ago, they made 3 substitutions at once. Among them was the 19-year-old Jake Garrett. And now he's headed off back down the tunnel. Came onto the field for a couple of minutes, had the ball, lost possession, and in an effort to win it back, flew into a tackle, studs up. Referee saw that, did not hesitate in showing him the red card straight away. So 88 minutes gone, it's 1-0 Coventry, and Blackburn down to 10 men.
Thank you very much, Kit. So 3 precious points for Coventry, and a bit of a slip up for Blackburn as we speak at the top of the Championship table. So Coventry 1, Blackburn 0 in the final stages. Final stages at Hull, it's Hull 1, Middlesbrough 3. Borough look as though they're going to win that one. As we know, Luton 0, Reading 0, final stages. Preston 1, Swansea 0. That's coming towards the end of that game as well. They're all 7:45 kickoffs. About quarter of an hour to go in the game between Bristol City and Sheffield United. The Blades currently leading that by a goal to 0. And West Brom 0, Blackpool 0 is also a latest. Okay, as promised, let's go back to the Papa John's Trophy down to Fratton Park. Portsmouth against Wimbledon, Jack Pescott.
Yeah, literally nothing's happened at all in the second half. Only a few changes from each side. I think both teams have realised that they both go through with a draw, and it's just turned into a training ground session. Both teams making about 5 passes and rushing the play and losing the ball. It's just really scruffy. 89 gone here, still 1-0.
Thank you very much to Jack. Okay, a big goal in the Champions League in Group D in the game between Sporting and Frankfurt. Which way has it gone, Dylan Chavas?
Thanks, Will. Yeah, it's 2-1 to Eintracht Frankfurt. An absolutely massive goal from the striker Randall Kolo Muani, which has sent Eintracht Frankfurt to the top of the group with a little under 15 minutes to play. It's a great finish from the striker, who they signed from Nantes in the summer of 2021, the French side. It's a great finish, like I said, from Wani. Right foot, and it's belted past Antonio Adan in the Sporting goal, and Koala Mwani has run off to celebrate in front of the travelling fans who are making an absolute what's the word? They're making masses of noise. That's the only way I can describe it. Sorry, Will, can barely hear myself think thanks to the raucous atmosphere in here now. 2-1 at the Estadio Jose Alvalade with just under 15 minutes to play. Frankfurt now top of the group and Sporting bottom, 2-1. Let's see what happens in the last 15 minutes.
Really is a topsy-turvy group, isn't it, at the moment? Just to remind you, Marseille and Spurs 1-1. So Spurs, as it stands after that Frankfurt goal, in second, but still going through. Frankfurt jumped to top, Marseille a third, and Sporting down in fourth. Goodness gracious me. Okay, less important goals in the Champions League because actually it doesn't really matter a huge amount, but Barnaby Page has seen a goal in the game at the Allianz Arena between Bayern and Inter. Barnaby.
Yep, well, it's 2-0 now to Bayern Munich. A goal from Eric Choupo-Moting, an absolute rifler into the top corner. Layoff from Alphonso Davies. He had plenty of space, just hit it really hard, really true, and Onana had no chance. Party atmosphere in Munich, Will.
Well, it's not Oktoberfest now, but certainly the beers will be flowing if Bayern end up beating Inter tonight in Group C. There's been a goal in the game at Eastleigh as well. It must be really near the end now then, Adam Holt. Which way, Adam Tilner rather, which way has it gone?
Well, it's the second goal for Eastleigh, and it is now full time, just as I'm speaking. Vincent Harper gets his second to seal the deal. The substitute scores once again, and this is his return to the side after 6 games. And he has certainly made a massive impact. He must have been really hungry to get back to playing, and it shows. Scunthorpe have been trying to get an equaliser, but they've been clumsy. Their desperate attempts have come to nothing. They had a corner and they couldn't even cross it in as it went out of bounds. And yeah, it clumsily gave a position. Vincent Harper got the ball, ran up the pitch, smacked it. Goalkeeper gone through it, but it went past him anyway because it was a rocket of a shot. 2-0 for Eastleigh, full time. Great game. Vincent Harper, absolutely great. Dribbling like a Brazilian. Back to you.
Thank you very much to Adam. So Eastleigh, the victors tonight at the Silver Lake Stadium by 2-0. So elsewhere in the Champions League, we've already heard Bayern Munich 2 Inter 0. We know it's still goalless between Liverpool and Napoli. We know it's 1-1 between Marseille and Tottenham. We know it's Rangers 0, Ajax 2. As we just heard from Dylan, it's Sporting 1, Frankfurt 2 in the big game, one of 2 big games in Group D. But I believe there's also been, Liam Jones, another goal in the game between Pilsen and Barcelona. Goal number 6 for you. Which way has it gone?
I know, I'm a very lucky man tonight. I've had a great little show of football. It's mixed emotions. It's 4-2 to Barcelona. It was actually the 19-year-old, the one they stuck in the lineup, his 4th appearance, his first Barcelona goal. Maybe another little wonder kid they've got coming through their ranks there in Catalonia. Pablo Torre, 19 years old, like I said, chipped over the top by Rafinha. He runs through, smashes it home. As he takes the shot, and as soon as it hits the net, he's rolling on the floor. They've had to get the stretcher and the golf cart out on the pitch. He's had to be sort of stretched it off. It looked like he can walk. He's on his feet, but it doesn't look like it's a nice injury. So mixed emotions down here. 4-2 Barcelona, 10 minutes left to play.
Thank you very much to Liam. So plenty of goals, as is often the case, going in the Championship in the Champions League rather, up and down the continent. Some late drama perhaps in the game in the Southern League Premier Division South match between Winchester City and Bracknell Town. He's already seen 4 goals, but I believe he's seen another one. Sarge.
Well, finally in stoppage time, Winchester might be back in it. Max Smith with a 25-yard strike. It's straight into the bottom left corner after a driving run from Claudio Herbert, the substitute. It's 3-2. They did pull off some late drama at Yatetown away in their last game. Can they do it again? They scored in the last minute to get a 3-3 draw. Surely they won't do it again, Will. At the moment, it's Winchester 2, Bracknell Town 3, with just 2 minutes remaining of stoppage time.
Real drama in that game. Drama already in that game. There's been fireworks before the match. There's fireworks throughout the match, and who knows, there may well be some fireworks towards the end of that match in the Southern League Premier Division South between Winchester City and Bracknell Town. Okay, so victory for Eastleigh in the National League tonight. Let's head off back to the Championship because the 7:45s are just about finishing up, I believe. Let's first of all head to where should we go? Let's head to Deepdale. Preston against Swansea. Are you full time in that match, George, or are you almost full time?
Yeah, the referee has thankfully just blown his full-time whistle and it ends Preston 1, Swansea City 0. But I'm looking at the game, it's really Swansea who should have taken some points here. I want to read you a couple of stats to really demonstrate how much they dominated the game. Swansea had 72% of possession. They made a little under 700 passes compared to Preston's 218. But the stat that really matters is that goal from Preston on the half-an-hour mark. And as soon as they scored that, they put every single player behind the ball. If they could have had a 12th player on the pitch, he'd have probably been in the Preston half as well. Swansea had a chance right at the death to make it 1-1. Jamie Patterson flicked the ball through to Ryan Manning, who was one-on-one with Freddie Woodman, but he could only fire the ball straight at the former Swansea goalkeeper. This is a disappointing result for Swansea, and those fans will not be happy on that nearly 4.5-hour journey back to South Wales. It's 1-0 Preston here at the Deepdale.
Thank you very much to George. Only 14 goals scored by Preston in the Championship this season in 19 games. The only team in the Championship that has scored fewer is one of the other teams from South Wales, Cardiff, who've only managed 13 goals, but they have played 2 games fewer. Probably not Deepdale the place to go if you want to see goals from the home team this season, but they won't mind. They've got 3 points and they're knocking on the door of the playoffs after that victory tonight. Thank you very much to George. Okay, let's go, stay in the Championship. Let's go across to Kit, who has been watching Coventry against Blackburn tonight. Is that one full time? It is indeed, I think, isn't it, Kit?
Well, yes, it's finished 1-0 here to Coventry at the CBS Arena. I mentioned earlier about how this game almost never even went ahead as a result of the fact that the ground owners have gone into administration. You asked me earlier, was it worth it? I think absolutely. If you're a fan of the Sky Blues, 100% it is worth it. They defeat the Blackburn Rovers, who heading into today was second in the Championship. After a fantastic low cross from Eccles found Jamie Allen for the one and only goal in this 90 minutes. And they brought an end to Blackburn Rovers' 4-game unbeaten streak. And they're going to give themselves some hope at the bottom of the table. Yeah, great game, really, all round. I think Coventry surprised everyone. Not only did they have the only goal of the game, the win, but they also absolutely had the bulk of the chances. And yeah, finished 1-0 here at Coventry.
Thank you very much to Kit then. So a big win for Coventry near the foot of the Championship table. A big defeat for Blackburn at the CBS Arena tonight. Okay, let's go back to the Southern League Premier Division South, because a little bit of extra drama for Sarge to deal with right before the end of the match. Sarge, what's happened and how?
Late drama, Will. A bit of a commotion here, really. I should say Winchester had a free kick in their own half. The goalkeeper was trying to take it quickly and was trying to gain a few yards, maybe tried to gain 5 or 10 yards, and the referees told him to go backwards. Charlie Philcott does eventually go back. He gets a yellow card for time wasted, even though Winchester were pushing for that third goal, for equalising goal. And then as he was getting booked, he did shout at the referee, and the referee's just got his second yellow card straight out, and the goalkeeper sent straight off. He ended up wasting his own time, as there wasn't time for another kick in the game. The referee blown the whistle before the free kick's even been taken. And the Winchester players were absolutely fuming at the ref surrounding him right now. But the game has finished. It's Winchester 2, Bracknell Town 3.
Thank you very much to Sarge Rahman. So we've seen fireworks off the pitch, on the pitch, goals, red cards, the whole kit and caboodle. A real great advert for Southern League Premier Division South action tonight. So defeat for Winchester City, a victory though for Eastleigh in the National League. Let's go back to the, well, actually, I was going to say, let's go back to the Championship. Let's not, because in the Champions League, there's been a goal in the match between Liverpool and Napoli at Anfield. Louis Moore.
And it's Liverpool who have taken the lead here. It was a corner for Liverpool on the left-hand side. It was whipped in beautifully. And it was Virgil van Dijk who got on the end of it, in the middle of the penalty area, headed it down towards goal. Merritt with the initial save right on the line. And you can have your house back because it's Mo Salah who's tapped it in on the goal. And there was no way he was missing that one. Absolutely blast it into the goal. And it's given an opportunity for Jurgen Klopp to make a couple of changes. Calvin Ramsey and Fabio Carvalho come on. And it's 87 minutes played. It's 1-0 Liverpool.
Thank you very much to Louis. Okay, let's go to the Papa John's Trophy. We haven't heard from Jack Pescott too much in the last couple of minutes or so. He said that not a huge amount was playing because both teams knew that they got a point, but it's gone to penalties, Jack.
Yeah, they're just about to take the first penalty now, Wimbledon. Yeah, Hudlin's about to step up. The keeper is ready on his line. This is for the bonus point in the group. It doesn't make a difference because Wimbledon are already 2 points clear. And yeah, Hudlin is just about to take the run up to put Wimbledon 1-0 up. And it's in. Right under the keeper's left, right in the bottom corner. Wimbledon have scored their first penalty.
Thank you very much to Jack. So they are going through the motions a little bit at the end of that Papa John's Trophy match. As he said, it doesn't really matter, but they play out for the extra bonus points. Such is the way and the rules of that particular trophy. Okay, there's been a goal. Is it just a consolation goal, or is it the start of a huge comeback for Rangers at home against Ajax at Ibrox? James Humphreys.
Well, it's been all Ajax this half again, but Rangers are really frying the kitchen sink here in the last 10 minutes. Substitute Matonda got played down the left, drove into the box, and Alvarez with a clumsy tackle reminded me of an older Will Tyrrell, to be honest. And then literally James Tavernier steps up, dispatches the penalty coolly down the middle, and it looks to be an interesting last 5 minutes here at the Ibrox.
Thank you very much to James. So at least they've got a consolation. At least they got given the 60-odd thousand Rangers fans something to cheer about. Okay, back to the Championship, because we've had full times and we've had goals. First of all, let's get a goal. Luke Hale, there's been an opening strike in the match between West Brom and Blackpool.
Yes, that's right. And it was nothing spectacular. It came from a corner and Yokoslu was at the back post, the right man at the right time to calmly slot it into the back of the net. Blackpool appealed for offside. It wasn't offside. There's nothing more to add. I don't think there's another goal here. 87 minutes gone. West Brom 1, Blackpool 0.
Thank you very much to Luke. So that one looks like it might be a winner for West Brom. There wasn't a winner for either side between Luton and Reading at Kenilworth Road tonight. Cameron Anderson-Jones.
Neither side were able to get the winner. 0-0 here, full time. The best chance at the end of the game came to Shane Long as he guided his header across goal, but just wide of the Luton net. Everyone's rushing to get out of the stadium now. I don't think anyone wants to come back to Kenilworth Road anytime soon. 0-0, and it sees both teams 10th and 11th now in the table, both gaining 1 point at the end of tonight.
Thank you very much to Cam. So Preston 1, Swansea 0 is a full-time in the Championship. Coventry 1, Blackburn 0 is a full-time. Luton 0, Reading 0 is a full-time. Still playing 8 o'clock kickoffs. Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 1, and West Brom 1, Blackpool 0, as we've just heard. Let's go back to the Champions League because these are all 8 o'clock kickoffs. Let's go back to Group D. Marseille against Spurs. 1-1 last we heard. Is there going to be a winner, Ben Hayward?
Yeah, action-packed, Will. Like I said, at multiple occasions, really. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg has hit the crossbar a couple of moments ago. It's a lovely bit of play, actually. Lucas Moura sets him right in between the penalty spot and the 18-yard box, slams the ball against the crossbar. Could have been all 3 points for Spurs, regardless of the fact that they only needed a point to go through, actually. But no, Marseille, they're, like I say, similar to, I think James just said, they're throwing the kitchen sink here, and they've brought on the likes of Luis Suarez, not the Luis Suarez that you're probably thinking of, but Denis Suarez, Colombian striker. They brought on Cengiz Under and Issa Kabore for Jonathan Klaus. So they're really going for it, Marseille, and they've got absolutely no other choice. It's the 85th minute. I've still got a lot of time left in here. Forgot to mention that actually Ryan Mason has been picked up a yellow card, assistant manager, obviously taking over Antonio Conte's role tonight. Yeah, a bit reactionary from him. So he's been put in the book. But no, Marseille just playing around, looking to... could be a chance on here. No, it's well defended by Perisic. But no, yep, still 1-1 here at the Stade Velodrome.
Thank you very much, Ben. Okay, there's been a goal in the game between Rangers and Ajax, James. Is it another consolation or is it another one for Ajax?
Well, Will, after 40 minutes of not a lot happening, it's all come to life in the final 5 minutes here at the Ibrox. Ajax with a brilliant quick break as Rangers look to push to get secure the equaliser. It's a straight ball down the middle and substitute Consejo latches onto the ball and coolly finishes past Alan McGregor low down to his right-hand side with his left foot. It's an excellent finish, and that surely wraps up all 3 points for the visitors.
Looks that way, doesn't it? Let's go back to League One. Thanks, James. Oxford United against Fleetwood. That was a 7:45 kickoff. Last we heard from Will, it was 1-1. Is that how it ended, Will Tyrrell?
It was, yeah, Will. Cheers. We ended up having nearly 10 minutes of stoppages simply because of the amount of time wasting and fouls that were being committed. I know I probably sound like a broken record every time you come to me. I mention the amount of fouls, but yeah, it was actually a really, really good game. I spent many cold evenings at the Kassam over the years watching some awful football, but that was actually quite an enjoyable game. Obviously, Fleetwood went up 1-0 2 minutes in thanks to a Mendes goal, but Gado Ndonka scored his first goal for Oxford United 15 minutes into the game to make it 1-1. United had the majority of the chances, 21 shots, in fact, at the end of the game, only 4 or 5 on target, but ended up being a really interesting game. 1-1 final whistle.
Thank you very much, Will. And rounding up our League One action tonight, Lincoln against Accrington, another game that had fisticuffs, yellow cards, substitutions, play acting, goals, drama, penalties, the whole kit and caboodle. Charlie Parker watched this one for us.
And it didn't end in that excitement. The final 6 minutes of added time was kind of just a kick around in the midfield. Nothing, no attacks, no shots. And if I was to summarize the game, it would be the reaction from the crowd when the full-time whistle went. There was no cheers. There was no boos. Everyone just left. Jack Diamond was the lone shine star for Lincoln with multiple attacks and passes that put Lincoln in dangerous positions, but no one could finish. And for the Accrington Stanley goal, the Lincoln defense were kind of stood still and they were kind of shocked that Accrington were even there. But in the end, it was a sloppy game and it ended 1-1.
Thank you very much to Charlie. So there you go. Absolutely no emotion from the fans whatsoever at the full-time whistle. I love that. No boos, no cheers. Everyone just went home. Well, there you are, Charlie. You can go home as well. Fantastic stuff. Okay, the panel. Let's quickly go down to Fratton Park where Jack Pescott has watched the penalties and they're all done, Jack, yeah?
Pompey took it 3-1. Their penalties all go in the same way. Special mention to Dane Scarlett, who almost broke the net. He couldn't get more in the corner. For Wimbledon, they missed 3 out of 4, and the 3 misses were pretty bad. All run-ups, very similar, very slow, very Pogba-esque, all at the goalkeeper. Shout out to Kwaku Frimpong for probably the worst penalty I've ever seen. P rolled it down the middle. Penalties aside, Wimbledon should be proud. It's a very young side keeping Pompey to a draw in the 90 minutes. Full time here, it was 1-1 and then 3-1 on penalties to Pompey.
Thank you very much, Jack. I look forward to seeing the P roll down the middle, the worst penalty ever. That sounds like one worthy of the admission fee alone. Okay, oh, look at that. It's all happening in the championship, in the match at Ashton Gate. Brawl, there's red cards. What on earth is going on, Ollie?
Yeah, Will, Tanner has just received a straight red. He's gone flying in. I didn't actually see who it was on. It was just, everything happened in a blur. I'm just catching the replay now. Yeah, it was Ben Osborne, I think, cut him from the right-hand side, and Tanner's just gone so late on him. It's a red in any referee, any league of football, that's a straight red card. The ball's completely gone. He's just gone flying in on him. And to be fair, I'm not surprised. It's been such a rough second half with Bristol and Nigel Pearson extremely frustrated, committing so many fouls. I think there's been about 5 yellows or 6 yellows prior to that, red as well. But yeah, it's still 1-0 here to Sheffield United. And I've heard Marseille are doing well tonight. It's the Marseille former youth player in Ilman and Jai who separates the two teams here. And with Coventry beating Blackburn at the top of the championship, it means that Sheffield, the Blaze, will go just a point behind their rivals in third place here tonight as it stands. 97th minute, last minute of the game now. And yeah, it looks like it could be all done here.
Thank you very much to Ollie. Yeah, the former Sheffield Wednesday defender Nigel Pearson won't be pleased losing to the current Sheffield United side by 1-0 as we speak. Looks as though it's going to be back-to-back wins for the Blades. It has finished, incidentally, West Brom 1, Blackpool 0 in the Championship as well. We'll be rounding up our show in the next 5 minutes or so, but we've got some full times to bring you from the Champions League. First of all, Sporting against Frankfurt. How did it end, Dylan Shabazz?
Yeah, it's all finished here in Lisbon, and it's finished 2-1 to Eintracht Frankfurt. And that result, combined with the Tottenham-Marseille game being 1-1 as it stands, means that Frankfurt have finished top of the group and Sporting are bottom. So that is definitely confirmed, Sporting bottom. The only thing that may change is Frankfurt, whether they proceed to the round of 16 as a top seed or a knockout seed remains to be seen in the last sort of dregs of the Tottenham-Marseille game. But Frankfurt are through a remarkable comeback today away from home. And as I mentioned, it's their first time back-to-back Champions League wins since 1959. So a great achievement for them. And the Sporting players are absolutely devastated, as are the fans. Boos ringing round the stadium. They'll be confused as to how they've let that one slip. But it's another sort of calendar year now with European disappointment for Sporting Lisbon. Yeah, so it's full-time here. Eintracht Frankfurt 2, Sporting Lisbon 1.
Well, it could have been 3 Portuguese sides into the last 16 of the Champions League, couldn't it? This time last week, it was looking promising. Not so promising now. Sporting not going through with the likes
it's going off now here. There's a big fight on the pitch. You know, the players seem to be at each other. Some grim looking scenes as Sporting comes to terms with this latest defeat and heartbreak, agony, and it looks to have just boiled over the top a little bit. I'll bring you more if we have any more.
Thank you very much to Dylan. Well, of course, what goes on there, it very much affects the game between Marseille and Spurs. There was a lot of injury time at the end of the first half, which meant the second half was late starting. It must be the final throes of the game. It's a big, big match. Which way is it going to swing, Ben Hayward?
Yeah, Marseille, an absolutely agonising chance missed by Sead Kolasinac. Again, another former Arsenal player in this Marseille squad. They've got an absolute plethora of Arsenal players, well, former Arsenal players, I should say. He's came on as a substitute, Kolasinac, and he's found himself drifting in at the back post. He's literally, I'll probably say about 2.5 yards out. For some reason, he's went to slam it into the ground and it's clipped the outside of the post. You genuinely would find it harder to miss than put away. Could have changed the entire complexity of Group D if that hits the back of the net. But instead, it goes agonisingly wide. The manager, Igor Tudor, can't believe what he's just seen. It's now the final 40 seconds here of Marseille's last chance saloon. I'll keep you posted if there's a last-minute goal, Will. Still 1-1 here.
Please do. Absolutely. So as it stands, we know Sporting are out. We know that Frankfurt are through, but who is going to join them? Will it be Spurs? Will it be Marseille? As it stands at the moment, 1-1, Marseille will know that it's Spurs going through and Marseille failing to qualify for the knockout stages of the Champions League. It's finished, incidentally, at Ashton Gate, Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 1. So that is a full-time in the Championship. Other games in the Champions League have finished. There was a late goal and a full-time whistle in the game at Anfield between Liverpool and Napoli, Louis Moore.
Yes, there was, Will, and it was almost a carbon copy of the first goal, actually. It was another great ball in from the corner, from the left-hand side as well. Van Dijk, again, getting on the end of it, headed it down, another first initial save from Merritt, but it's followed in from Darwin Núñez. who scores right on the touchline, couldn't miss it. He made it 2-0, but I don't know how that one was given, but the Napoli goal was offside. It doesn't make sense to me. VAR's got that completely wrong, but it finished 2-0.
It did finish 2-0, and it's finished, or almost finished, I think, at the Stade Velodrome. And there's been a winner. Which way has it gone, Ben Hayward?
Paul Lopez, pick that out the back of your net. Wow. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg has just sent an absolute rocket into the top left corner, and it's game over. So Spurs have nabbed it, despite the fact they've conceded a load of shots on goal. They've caught them on a break. Ogil Tudor, the manager, has actually ran onto the pitch whilst they were on the break. This is bizarre. There were 3v1. Harry Kane slid in Højbjerg. And do you know what? He's been absolutely excellent, the Danish midfielder. And it's more than what he's deserved. He's at the bar about 10 minutes ago as well. But he's absolutely pummeled the ball into the back of the net. And it's full time. He's literally just flew the whistle for full time. Spurs take all 3 points. Marseille players drop to their knees. Matteo Guendouzi has the most spiteful face I think I've ever seen. Again, another former Arsenal player. So yeah, bittersweet for a lot of these Spurs boys. So yeah, there's plenty of scenes going on in the away end, and I'm pretty certain that leaves Tottenham finishing top of the group. It does, yeah. They finish on 11 points. Frankfurt finish on 10, and it's full time at Stade Velodrome, 2-1 Spurs.
Wow, just wow. The way that group has gone literally to the last kick of the game, the last kick of the group, 2 teams away from home, both winning, Frankfurt and Spurs, through to the knockout stage of the Champions League. As Ben says, Spurs going through as the seeded team, as the team finishing in the top position with 11 points, Frankfurt with 10, Sporting with 7, and that defeat consigning Marseille to bottom place and therefore not even in the Europa League last 32. So Tottenham and Frankfurt go through. Sporting, with that last-minute goal from Spurs, means that they're going to be in European competition after Christmas. Marseille, with all those Arsenal players, not able to be involved at all. So it'll be back to league action for them. Wow. Fantastic scenes at the Stade Velodrome in the Champions League tonight. Let's quickly round up what's gone on elsewhere in the Champions League this evening. FC Porto beat Atletico Madrid by 2-1. It ended 0-0 between Leverkusen and Club Brugge. Bayern beat Inter by 2-0. Liverpool ended up beating Napoli by 2-0. As we hear, Marseille 1, Tottenham 2. It ended Pilsen 2, Barcelona 4, Rangers 1, Ajax 3, Sporting 1, Frankfurt 2. In the Championship this evening, Coventry beat Blackburn by 1-0. Hull lost at home to Middlesbrough by 3-1. It ended Luton 0, Reading 0, Preston 1, Swansea 0, Bristol City 0, Sheffield United 1, West Brom 1, Blackpool 0. In League 1 tonight, it ended Lincoln 1, Accrington 1, Morecambe 1, Derby 1, Oxford 1, Fleetwood 1, and Wycombe 1, Port Vale 3. In League 2, Barrow beat Colchester by 3-1, and Tranmere and Stockport played out a 0-0 draw. In the National League this evening, it also ended Eastleigh 2, Scunthorpe 0 at the Silver Lake Stadium. And in the Southern League Premier Division South, it ended Winchester City 2, Bracknell Town 3. And in the Papa John's Trophy, Portsmouth ended up drawing 1-1 with Wimbledon, but beat them on penalty kicks at the end of the game. Hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Our reporters around the grounds, George Rees-Julian, Kit McIntosh, Cam Anderson-Jones, Ollie Power, Luke Hale, Ben Hayward, Dylan Shavas, Louis Moore, James Humphreys, Barnaby Page, Liam Jones, Adam Tilner, Sarge Rahman, Will Tyrrell, Charlie Parker, Jack Pescott, and myself, Will Cope. This ends the Solent Sports News Midweek Live. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for treating us to football. We hope we've treated you to some good action tonight and plenty of good updates from third-year sports journalism students at Solent University. Good night and God bless.